Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands and today it's WNR342. It's NXT update time. We catch up on all the action, but I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by Monty Pod. How you doing, man? You right?
Man, I am so happy to be back. I'm doing good, and man, it's so good. We got so much going on. It's such an exciting time in wrestling, so I could not wait to get back here and especially talk about NXT. Man, we got a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of stuff that has happened since the last show that we
I
did
mean,
together.
without a doubt, like I said, it's great to have you back on. And last time we met up was for NXT Vengeance Day, which seems like an eternity ago. We're going to catch
Yes.
up on all the NXT episodes, but first off, we're going to start with a little bit of news. Because back in December, a report popped up about Triple H tasking a few members of the team to create a new NXT show, and we get some details about WWE's latest content. Apparently, Fightful Select has a scoop on what it's going to be called. It's NXT Evolve. And the effort sounds like it's been headed up by former Evolve booker Gabe Sapolsky and Jerry Borash, who most fans will know from his tenure in Impact. They are saying that there's going to be heavily involved in the new project, and footage has been shot in the Orlando warehouse. WWE uses a training facility while Raw and SmackDown were filming at the Performance Center from March to August, while the PC was being renovated. As for being taped, we're not really sure what's going to be involved. Rumours surfaced a couple of months ago that the product's been planned for almost 2 years. Different versions have been pitched during this time, at one point as NXT Underground as well. Nothing's really set in stone, kind of fluid. Of course, WWF purchased Evolve, and of course the October 2020 performance class was almost entirely former Evolve talent. Even with 2 hours, the version of NXT still got, like I said, a lot of talent involved. They kind of want to give it a fight feel, almost like the NXT Fight Pit. And of course, Evolve former champ Timmy Thatcher might fit into the new show. It's also worth wondering where 205 Live would go from that as well, and if it would actually be added to the kind of weekly programs. So that's a bit of news. I mean, what are your thoughts on? Do you know anything about Evolve, or another program, another something for us to have to watch?
Right. See, we think alike, because that's the only thing I was thinking was like, okay, well, now I got to figure out how I'm gonna fit this into the schedule of a billion things that like you said, that you want to watch. I mean, I feel bad if you really are into like other independent promotions, because what WWE and what some of the, like, if you're into smaller promotions, I don't know how could you even have time to keep up with some of the other things. Like I honestly don't know, but honestly, I'm excited to see what this is about. I really want to know, like you said, is this going to be mostly like more of a shoot feel type of wrestling, like you said, fight pit style? If that's what they're going for, does that mean the whole theme of the show, every match, including the women, or are they going to be fighting that style also? Like, what does this bring? And I'm very interested just to see what type of show this is going to be, because I honestly, like you said, they have so much stuff going on, and I understand they have a lot of talent that maybe they have a lot of talent that we see, but there's a lot of talent in the performance center that we don't get a chance to see. And like you said, fresh signees and all that. So I don't know if this is going to be kind of like their AEW Dark, or is this going to be, like you said, the fight pit style? I have a lot of questions, so I can't wait to see what it turns into. But it has the potential to be something very, very cool. And plus, with the NXT brand, they do have a standard now. That's one thing I will say. With NXT's name now, what it is, like you said, we talked about this all the time. NXT has a great reputation. Like, we talked about how the takeovers are pretty much always great. So I don't know. I would like to see what this new show brings to that. Like, is this going to be like? Can they live up to what the NXT brand has built themselves to be, and what is going to be different about it? Like you said, as a comparison to the other shows. And I agree. What is going to happen to 205 Live? I don't know anybody who really keeps up with 205 Live, but if you add another show, how do you expect anybody to keep up with it? If anybody, the few people who do watch it. I have a hard time sometimes catching up on NXT UK because of not only the timing of it, but just like you said, 5 days a week is 7 days a week pretty much, because even on the weekend you're probably recapping something that you missed. So it's everywhere you turn. It's a great time to be a fan, honestly, to be fair. But at the same time, you just kind of, get overwhelmed at times.
Well, like I said, if it's an hour show and it's doing something a little bit different, I mean, maybe not like Raw Underground was, but maybe kind of fight.
Oh God.
Maybe kind of like a fight pit feel with
Right.
kind of more, harder strikes and stuff like this. It's like, but it has to be an hour show. It has to be, or even a half-hour show. And this is the thing. And just touching on it quickly because mentioned AEW with the amount of content now with Elevation and the
Right.
YouTube channel that they've got. It's a surprise that no one's actually thought at this moment in time. Why not have a show just dedicated to women's wrestling? You've got 205 Live with the cruiserweights
Yes.
and stuff like this. But if you want to be that different, if AEW wants to be that different, go, right, we're going to do you an hour show or 2 hour show where it's just women's matches. You could do it in NXT. You could do it in NXT. You could take over 205 Live and say, this is for the women now,
Exactly. I agree. Now, that's a great idea because, like, we talked about, like, that's one of those ideas that we've never seen, especially to the scale of that WWE with their production value, with their budget, that they could take an idea like that. I agree. It's incredibly surprising to me that it's taking them this long to come up with that idea of like you said, or taking them this long to at least try it and give it a chance. Like, the only thing WWE has even done that even remotely resembles that is Evolution. And I remember enjoying not only that pay-per-view, but I've also heard in years since, a lot of people want another one, wanted plenty more because, it was well done and they see the potential that women's wrestling can generate. And I think NXT Evolve is actually be a great name also for, like you said, an all women's, division themed show. And it would be a nice way to do that. I honestly didn't even think about that, but that would actually be a great idea.
No, this is the thing, sorry about to say, but the talent that NXT women, they've definitely got in the division. The people can drop down from becoming WWE who are not being used as well.
Right.
It just makes sense. But, maybe that's an idea for another day. We're going to move on and talk about salaries because, there's far less known about salaries paid to NXT stars than they are the main roster counterparts. But our good friend Dave Meltzer has talked about the huge disparity between the shows. He said they're not making 250,000 or even 300 grand or anything like that. Balor sure is, but I don't think they're probably in the low 100,000s. I know one top person in NXT has been there for a long time, probably making about 130,000. Adam Cole's probably making a little more, about 150,000 in that range. If you see a start out, you're probably getting 60,000, maybe 50,000, depending on who you are. If you're a guy like a football player, you're probably going to get more and raises at a certain point. And this is probably considered the downside in a WWE contract or salary paid, regardless of how a wrestler fares on television or in merch sales. And these stars of NXT likely reeling more money once their merch is factored into the equation. The downside for all SmackDown stars typically significantly higher, even with lower card talent reeling in 6 figures annually. One of the biggest reasons talent still views Raw and SmackDown as a call-up is, of course, the difference in pay, despite NXT being relatively WWE's best product. I mean, that is a bit surprising, really.
I agree 100%. And that's such, like, right at the end there when you make the point that that's the worst part. Is like, honestly, other than SmackDown, maybe NXT is like has been the most consistent and, like you said, the most entertaining show on there. And like when you think about that, the pay grade, and like the disparities in pay, and it's crazy. I can't believe that. I mean, it makes sense, kind of, like especially in the early days of what NXT was, when it definitely was more of a developmental. But I guess maybe that year when NXT came up and competed in Survivor Series, maybe that kind of changed the way we thought about NXT. But at the same time, it doesn't seem like it changed the way, Vince or the guys who make these decisions on budget think about NXT. So, I think we've all got the message that they're not the third brand that they've talked about in the past. I think Triple H in the past have wanted us to believe that NXT is on equal footing as those shows. And I think even something as simple as we'll talk about it later, those new tag team belts for the ladies is another element of showing that these are two different worlds, because they couldn't even count on the main roster's women's tag team belts to be, shared with NXT properly. The champions rarely came to NXT. I can only think of 2 or 3 matches off the top of my head. And so when you think about those type of things, and you see, like you said, like I said, the work rate and what NXT brings weekly and every takeover has been just like great. It's amazing to think that a guy like Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano is not making what, like, I'm trying to think of a lower tier, Akira Tozawa as an example. And no offense to Tozawa, because I like him, but like Tozawa deserves to be making, a whole, $500,000 more than what Gargano could be looking at or something. Like, what are you, like, how does that work? You know what I'm saying? So I don't get it.
This is the this is the thing though, and they kind of talk about, people at WWE wanting there just a collective paycheck and just sit there, because it's a good position to have. And you got someone like talk about Ciampa Gargano in NXT who could feasibly, been asked about, would you want to go up to the main roster? You'll get paid this amount, and their love for wrestling is such that they stay with NXT. And we've seen an example of this, of course, in the news with Andrade, who was on talk about like $2 million a contract. And didn't want to sit there and collect it because he actually wanted to wrestle. And I think that shows you the kind of the spirit and the heart of a proper performer, so to speak, and someone that can just collect a paycheck,
I agree 100%. I mean, I think when you have situations like that, I don't know if anybody else's situation, but I'm using like Bo Dallas as an example. When you see guys who've been just on the sideline for so long and they don't ask for anything, you get no word on what's going on and all that type of stuff. It does make you wonder when you have scenarios like an Andrade, like you said, like Andrade really wanted to be on television. And obviously, I don't know how anybody could watch him work and think he didn't deserve it. There is a reason why reports said that Triple H did not want him to leave. Andrade is that good. So it's amazing. And I agree. I think that says a lot about the character for you to be willing to walk away from that type of money when, like you said, you're doing nothing. You don't have to do anything, and you're still going to get paid what you need. But you rather go out, and I think he mentioned going out going the McIntyre route. So I think that's a great move for a lot. As a matter of fact, I would recommend a lot of people in that position to try. I think Drew McIntyre has created the blueprint of what you should try to do if your plan is to make it back to WWE.
Well, it's even, you talk about Bobby Lashley, and I've had debates on the WWE podcast about him. And the fact is, he wouldn't be in this position he was today if he hadn't have gone to Impact, tried a bit of MMA, learned the experience, rather than just sitting in catering, waiting for his opportunity. And another thing as well, just quickly, is we were lucky enough when NXT came to the UK in 2017. The main event was a tag team match, and it was Drew McIntyre and Aleister Black versus Andrade and Bobby Roode. Right. You look at the kind of those four at those time were kind of going to be stars no matter what. Bobby Roode now's on the main roster with the tag team. Happy enough, I suppose. McIntyre's made it. Aleister Black kind of got completely wasted in Andrade. You're probably being a Johnny Gargano or a Ciampa going, well, we could make the jump and we could end up like McIntyre, or we could end up like Aleister Black. Right. Or Bobby Roode, So it's over
the years, that list has grown of guys who look like they had a chance of being big guys. Don't get me started on. Do you remember AOP in NXT and then what they looked like after the main roster? Like, I can give you countless examples. So that list is growing as the years go by, because there was a lot of guys that you see their NXT running, like, there's no way they can screw this up. Then 3 years later, you haven't seen this guy in I don't know how long. So it's tough.
That would be interesting maybe one day to do a list of, talk about kind of the strikeouts and the successes of the NXT roster, because now the negative's got to be outweighing the kind of the positive in some ways. But we're not going to be negative anyway. So we'll move on. And WWE announced its largest class of recruits, a group that include former Impact Wrestling stars Taya Valkyrie and Eli Drake. The additions include former UCF offensive lineman Parker Bordeaux and former Kansas State running back Bronson Rick Steiner, who was the son of tag team legend Rick Steiner. Valkyrie was the Impact Knockouts champion for 377 days, long in the history of the group. And fans have got a taste of Eli Drake, who debuted as L.A. Knight. I'm going to be doing that every time. Head of the Takeover Vengeance Day. Eli Drake isn't the only recruit to already graced WWE programming. Zoe Stark, Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade competed in the Women's Dusty Rose Tag Team Classic, all three failing to advance. Dolan also faced off with Deonna Purrazzo in the first round of the Mae Young Classic in 2018, losing by submission in the first round. Despite the fact they don't have any formal experience in the ring, Rick Steiner and Bordeaux will likely excite many in the WWE universe. Bordeaux is built like a brick shithouse with comparisons to Brock Lesnar. I mean, I actually thought it was like Brock Lesnar's clone.
Agreed. Yes, he looks. Oh my goodness, he looked just like him. Yeah, I agree. I saw some people mistaking him for Brock's son, and I understand completely.
You can imagine Paul Heyman go up to him and going, "Excuse me, I was wondering if you could sign my contract." Rick Steiner, meanwhile, seems destined to enjoy a long, successful career, of course, of connections. When your dad is Rick Steiner and your uncle is Scott Steiner, going into the family business seems inevitable. It was a big class that went into NXT, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was a lot. I saw the photos. It was a lot of hype around the class, and well deserved, like you said, with Rick Steiner's son. And there's always a chance when you have, like you said, the business is in your blood. Who knows just how good he could be? I agree, Parker. I immediately I think he followed me on Twitter out of nowhere one time,
Fucking
and
hell.
I guess I was
I
just
really
talking
like
about
him.
right, yeah. Yeah, he's already my favorite. Follow me. I don't know if he checks out the show. If you do, I hope you check out the WNR also. So shout out to you. But anyway, I don't even know why, but I appreciate the follow. Either way it go, it worked out because it's like not a week after I realized who he was, then I saw he signed WWE. I'm like, yes, that worked out perfectly. But anyway, besides that, I agree. He's huge. The potential is obviously there, and we all know WWE. You just mentioned it with the salaries. WWE and former football players, they don't. It don't always work out, but they love giving them opportunities. That's just how it works. Like Vince or the guys, the trainers, big football player, money. They see ching ching. So who knows how that would work. And Taya Valkyrie, I've always been a fan of what I've been able to see of her, especially the work she's been doing her last run in Impact. I really enjoy a lot of the stuff she was doing there. So I can't wait to see what she do. I'm actually thinking that we'll see her sooner than later. So.
Yeah, without a doubt. So let's get on it. We've got a load of NXT to catch up on. We've got 7 episodes. And let's start with NXT Update. Last time we had left it was NXT Vengeance Day, and it's February 17th now. We start with a typically excellent video package recapping Sunday night. Adam Cole's Superkick, or Kyle O'Reilly ends it, and we head into the CWC where Vic Joseph, Wade Barrett, Beth Phoenix at ringside talk about the card, but Kyle O'Reilly cuts him off. He hits the ring and calls for a mic. We all saw what happened. He keeps replaying the moment in his head, trying to make sense of it, but he can't. He's shocked, confused, pissed off, and disappointed. Undisputed Era was supposed to be different, and Adam Cole ruined it. He kicked him in the face, but more importantly, he stabbed him in the back. But Cole's still his brother, and he's willing to hear him out. At the end, he'll probably punch him in the face, but he'll hear him out. Roderick Strong comes out instead of Cole. He knows Adam did it out of emotion. He didn't mean it. But Cole doesn't want to hear it from him. He's just pissing him off more. He wants Roddy not to get in the ring because he doesn't trust him. He knows who to trust. O'Reilly demands Adam Cole, but he gets Finn Balor instead. Kyle O'Reilly says he's not looking for Finn, and Balor says that it doesn't matter because he's looking. If O'Reilly wants Cole, he needs to get in line behind him. The champ knew he shouldn't have accepted O'Reilly's hand at Takeover, but he did. Now he wants answers. Roddy gets in Finn's face, saying Cole has nothing to do with it. And then Pete Dunne attacks. Only Lorcan and Danny Burch are with him. Strong and O'Reilly are taken out, and the Hill Trio stomp out Balor until officials break it up. So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, my thought on this straight away with the opening segment was O'Reilly will be NXT champion at some point. They've done this for him.
I was muted. I was talking muted. Sorry. Anyway, that was, I was not expecting it. Wow. I really was not expecting you to say former NXT champion from this segment. But you know what? I really did enjoy the overall. My favorite thing about this entire program, I know it's weird, but I love picking little small things out. And it's we were supposed to be different. It's just little things like that really makes you love it, because we all, if you've been a long time wrestling fan like me, everybody knows it. As a matter of fact, especially in recent, if you've been watching the main roster, if you are a faction, you are guaranteed a day in the sun where somebody's breaking up. It doesn't work. It's no, other than the New Day, there's no long-term group. And even now, I think they are supposed, I guess you can call it split up, but not really to me, but whatever. Either way it goes, the fact that he acknowledged that they were supposed to be different is such a strong point, because we all know that in professional wrestling, factions, that's what they do. They turn on each other. They split up at some point. And for him, that emotion is one of those things, as a longtime wrestling fan, that I really, really like. And I agree with you. Kyle O'Reilly has the potential to really be one, and the funniest part about it, I didn't even think about it. I thought from the original inception of the Undisputed Era, because even I was a fan of Adam Cole and Ring of Honor, and I knew them when they were Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. I think it was Red Dragon was their name. I remember those days, and I enjoyed them all. But you couldn't tell me that this group was not built for Adam Cole to prosper originally. The fact that they've been able to pull another star out of this group, that may be something else. I'm not sure happens often. Maybe since like the Evolution type of days. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Evolution is the only other group I can think of where two guys may come out of this situation, as like you said, world champion material stars. And I think this is the beginning of, like you said, Kyle O'Reilly showing that this feud is the beginning of that. You know what I mean? And I really liked not only this segment, but like I said, I really liked the energy that Kyle O'Reilly, the hurt. You can feel it through the promo. So I think the promo did his job based just solely on that. And Finn Balor thinking O'Reilly set him up was also an underrated moment of that segment, because honestly, that's the realistic reaction. So I liked it.
Well, there's an excellent point they made as well. It's like they made the group for Adam Cole and they broke up because of Kyle O'Reilly, and that's the kind of thing. But it's like I said, layers to the story, and it's not only just about the formation of the Undisputed Era, but it's the Balor involved in it as well. And of course, then from there, the kind of what Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole think, and then even Pete Dunne with Lorcan and Birch being involved. It's just like I said, it's a really good story told with lots of moving parts. But the announcer then kicked it back to General Manager Willie Regal for an update on Santos Escobar Karen Cross match they announced last week. Escobar sent a video message saying he was going home and only face Cross on his terms, not Regal's. The GM said the match will happen next week, or Santos will be suspended indefinitely. And then the first matchup is Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Johnny Gargano heads to commentary and hands out some missing flyers with Austin Theory on them. Don't forget, he got kidnapped at Vengeance Day. Tagged to Candice, but as she goes on offense, the camera takes us out back with familiar white van pulls up. Johnny heads to check on the van if you get a full commercial break. Shotzi with a hot tag as soon as he returns. She hits Hartwell with her usual flurry and covers, but only gets two. Then we see Blackheart. It's her turn to get in trouble. We see head to the parking lot, see Johnny trying to get into the van. And then we see Ember for Candice for two. Moon climbs for the Eclipse, but Ray knocks her off the ropes. The Way sets Ember up for the springboard combo, but here comes Johnny with Theory. He's zip-tied and in boxes, but LeRae is so excited to see him, she runs up the ramp. When Indy looks on, she gets rolled up by Moon. So Shotzi and Ember Moon defeat Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. But the Way are celebrating on the ramp. I mean, it was an okay match, but I think it was more about finding Austin Theory than it was a tag team match,
Agreed, 100%. It was definitely the main focus of this segment, and like you said, it was all about Theory. Like you said, the result was predictable also, in my opinion, honestly. And I honestly didn't I thought I knew that it wasn't going to be as good as their match that they had at that Takeover. And I thought they did really good with what this was, like you said, the goal of this segment, and that was the storytelling about Austin Theory. So it did its job, and I think you couldn't ask more from it.
Yeah, I don't think without a doubt. Joseph then kicks it to Pat McAfee, private jet. Pat Mac says hello to the internet wrestling community, introduced himself as our favourite wrestler. Basically, I told you so, similar to his post-takeover tweets. Then he signs off so we can head to the beach for some Mai Tais. What a prick. But he was right. He always said Adam Cole, and it was true.
It's true. Yeah, I loved it. It was such a nice touch. It was such a nice touch, because I really loved him coming back and being like, "Oh, you guys thought I was the bad guy. I told you." It's such a great,
yeah. You thought I was a prick. Yeah, look at this guy. I did say, yeah.
I've been telling you the whole time.
Yeah. After break, Mackenzie Mitchell checks in with Kushida in the training room. He puts over the match on Sunday, but said he's not done with Johnny. Once Rude comes in to check on him and says he has eyes on Gargano too, but he wants Kushida to heal up. If he needs to figure out who to get next shot at Johnny, they will. Reed offers a fist bump and Kushida hesitantly accepts. And then Malcolm Bivens is in the back of the room and approaches Kushida. He checks to make sure Kushida is cleared and says he's just the opponent for him tonight. Bivens heads off to Regal. Then get Leon Ruff versus Swerve Scott. Ruff gets a high-flying takedown, some early offense, but it's mostly Swerve beating on the former North American champion. Ruff rallies and hits a rebound clothesline, followed by his leaping, twisting cutter, but Swerve gets the foot on the ropes. Scott's back in control, but is overconfident. He gets caught by Ruff's flash crucifix pin. Swerve laughs, high fives, and accepts a hug, and then that set up a punch in the mouth. And the beatdown is worse than anything before, including grabbing Ruff him into the corner. Swerve said he's tired of Ruff getting handed everything while he waits for his. This was not a bad match, but Swerve looked so comfortable turning into the hill. This could be a start of something special. What were your thoughts?
I agree 100%, man. They have really good chemistry. Especially for a match that I thought wasn't as long as maybe it could have been. But honestly, I really love, like you said, the back and forth and how they work together. The speed in the ring was just incredible. And honestly, I think Ruff works really well for Isaiah's heel turn since they're both in cruiserweights. And I think the way Isaiah turned and the viciousness was aided by how Ruff, looks, if you see what I'm saying, and how he's bigger than Ruff, he can dominate Ruff, and it just added to the viciousness of this new side of Isaiah. So he can, and plus I really love Swerve because he can do anything in the ring. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of cool to see, or at least I'm excited to see where else can he go character wise? Because I really think that's all Swerve really needs to get him to the next level is something to lock the fans into his character. So he has it in the ring. He has it all in the ring. This could be the level that could knock his character to that next step that he needs.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with that. I remember seeing a documentary about Swerve, as part of, I think, the Wrestlers documentary. He was going to all these different places to, being like a, hardcore wrestler, trying all this kind of, technical stuff and just trying to learn different techniques. At that time, like you said, when you see these guys, you're not really sure until they show up somewhere. And then when I saw him in NXT, and I thought, well, this is a guy who's kind of got all that together, and like you said, just needs that character and that little momentum to kind of get started, and hopefully it happens now. But before the next match, we get a reminder of Casey and Caden's run-in with T and Shah last week. They get an inset promo saying they know Zia Lee is brainwashed by the mythological figure Mai Ying. Easy for him to say, but tonight it's about winning their match, and it's Caden Carter and Casey's Catanzaro versus Aliyah or Nymph and Jesse Kamea. Catanzaro, impressive offense on Kamea. Carter in for a moment, and Casey's back in for a handstand on the ropes into a head scissor. Jesse attacks from behind, and the heels, well, Carter in the corner. That doesn't last long, though, as Casey comes into hot tag to light up Aliyah or Nymph and tandem net breaker ends it. Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro get the win, and then Zia Lee is out with Boa now. Caden steps to her, but Casey says, "Let me handle it." Lee marks the hand with 2 black marks and says next week she will purge her. The dreaded black marks of Rugugu or something, I'm guessing.
The mark of death. Did she mark her?
Like,
you are now purged. This was insane to me. That whole. I don't know. I don't even want to go back into the whole, brainwashing and whatever mythological part. Yeah, we can. Anyway, this match in particular right here, I was absolutely just dumbfounded with how, it was okay, but it was sloppy at times. And I get, like I said, no offense to anyone in the ring, because I know everybody, like even Casey and Catanzaro are both, on the green side when it comes to it. And I think Kamea and Aaliyah shouldn't be that green. I don't even get me started again on my rant on Aaliyah that I just don't understand how. But I don't, like I said, I don't want to act like I'm coming for anyone because I know it's hard to do what they do. But man, this match was sloppy to me. But at the end of the day, this was all about setting up the match, between Lee and Catanzaro. So, I can't wait to see, what happens next, I guess. But, yeah, the whole storyline and I get it. The point of this story is Xia Li is more, vicious now, and she's taking out her former friends. All of the other mythological stuff I don't necessarily need from it. But, whatever, to each his own, of course.
Exactly, it's the problem. You don't want to be dusting, something in your room, and suddenly you see 2 marks on your hand. You think it's the mark of death.
Like, yes.
No.
Like, what is going on here? This is supposed to be a job. Did you go to work?
They're going to murder me in a week. Anyway, in the locker room, Bivens tells us Regal approved his match. He knows Kushida isn't 100%, but he's clearer. He's got to learn Tyler isn't a rookie. He's a diamond in the rust. He's got a need for speed. Anyway, because he looks like Aaron Paul. We get on that. He really does.
Yes, I agree.
We get MSK and Raquel Gonzalez Dakota Kai making her way to the ring after break. Beth's in the ring with a Dusty Cup trophy. She puts over the teams in both tournaments. Then introduces a video on the winners. She brings out MSK and Wesley and Nash Carter ask for a moment so they can work off some energy. They mark out on the ramp. They get in the ring, give the Hall of Famers some hugs. They're hyped seeing their name on the cup, and they throw out a challenge to the tag team champs for March 3rd. Folks, this was good by MSK, and then Beth asked them to help her introduce some women who made history. Cart points out the names and right across from theirs on the sides of the trophy. Kai and Gonzalez are out to get a "You Deserve It" chant. Raquel's all smiles as Kai says nothing more and makes them happier than crushing all their opponents so they can make much further. W Women's Champions are here. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler head to the ring. Challenge introduce Nia to the Dusty Cup winners. Carter holds the ropes for them, but they head to the corner and literally pull out popcorn to watch a stare down. That's nice, boys. And they share with Beth. And then the Dusty winners of the tag champs trade insults. Dakota introduces Shayna as the woman who ran off after Rhea Ripley beat her. Raquel asks if it's the same Rhea she beat in the last women's standing match. Baszler calls back to how she bullied and broke Kai's arm in her NXT run. Dakota says she's a new woman and looking forward to kicking her head off. Now I ask them to calm down. She's here to honour Dusty. Man who told her she was the biggest badass he ever met. Raquel says this because he's never met her. On March 3rd, when they have the title match, she's going to stick her boot up Nia's #hole. This was a great segment, wasn't it? You know.
I agree. I think it accomplished multiple things at once. The only problem I had with it at first was that after MSK announced what they were doing, I honestly had no idea why they had to still be out there. That's the only thing about it. But at least they were entertaining when, in that role, though. They still found a way to make it entertaining. So I let it go. But I must say this. I thought that they did a really good job of bringing up that, like you said, the history between Shayna Baszler and Dakota Kai. But I kind of even wish they leaned into it even more because, Dakota Kai's her entire reason for being who she is now is due to Shayna Baszler, if you remember. So if it would have been nice to kind of delve or talk about that a little bit more to add, fire to it. But honestly, I think we all know that at this point that this was also about including Gonzalez in it. So I guess I can kind of understand not wanting to make it all about Dakota Kai. But Dakota Kai probably should have took that title match a little bit more personally. But it was what it was, though. I think it did what it needed to do. It had me hyped for next week. I was ready to see what was going to happen. So, yeah, I think it, again, did accomplish the goal of hyping up the NXT – the women's tag team championship match to next week.
Yeah. Like I said, Raquel come across as a killer and a backstory, the arm break on Kai. And then we see Roddy and Cole arguing in the parking lot as we go to a commercial. We come back to the amazing Cameron Grimes film on Takeover. This diversion ends with a car crash and we see he's wrecked his Lambo. We'll just have to get a new one. What a dick, but you got to love it. Earlier today, women's champion Shai was doing a photo shoot when Toni Storm jumped her. Storm left Shai being checked on by officials. Announcers mentioned she's upset because she wasn't pinned in Sunday's triple threat match. And up next is Kushida versus Aaron Paul. They trade holes a little bit, where Kushida delivers a kick to the arm. Paul then tries to get up, but Kushida slips through and grabs his arm. Hoverboard locked in deep. Bivens on the apron. He saves his fighter by throwing in the towel. Kushida defeats him by stoppage. Russ tells his manager he could have had that one. Yeah, I'm sure you could have done. Yeah, you really could have had that one there. It was a kind of squash match. We'll move on. Video package on Zoe Stark. Marina Shafir's Dusty Cup partner in action next. And first we see L.A. Knight's arrival on Sunday. Earlier today, someone knocked on the door. He goes to show off the interviewer, but then says, "Let me talk to you." Everyone's been talking about how he's the hottest free agent, and that's what everybody says when they come. But if anyone doubts him, they can try to stop him. That's a fact of life. It's L.A. Knight's game. Folks, he looks like Austin Aries, but sounds a bit like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I was just about to say, he's really going for either the Austin or I think The Rock too a little bit in there. Like it's I'm glad you said this because he sounded like someone completely different than what I remember.
It's like he's gonna go, Jesus Christ, you goddamn kid, what are you saying to me? I was like, God damn, we're gonna win the NXT title.
Bro, like he was channeling definitely a little bit of Austin. He threw some rocking. His promo style reminds me of a lot of people. But to be fair, I will say this: they are pretty good, braggadocious type of promo. So I think this, at least for you to get to know who this character is supposed to be, I pretty much get it already, like where he's going with it.
Yeah, right. And then Zoe Stark versus Valentina Feroz. And after a perfect power moves by Stark, Feroz gets a kick, a judo throw midway through the match, but only angers Stark. Big kick in the corner, a GTS variant ends it. Zoe Stark wins. Feroz impressed me as much as she can. And then we get Scarlett and Cameron Cross black and white promo. Scarlett says Santos Escobar doesn't have the power to stop this. There's no pause button on this nightmare. Cross says Mr. Santos has two options. Sharp and get his fist put through his face, or stay home, get stripped of his title, then Cross destroys him eventually. TikTok. I mean, if there was two choices, they're not like the best, are they? Like you're gonna be, do we stay home, get our title stripped, or do we get smashed by Cross? I mean, for me, I'll probably stay at home, to be fair.
Yes. Does anything about him looks like that's what you? That's like the good decision is to, like, come on, man. Like he looks like a killer. Oh my goodness, he's so good. But yeah.
And then the main event: Pete Dunne, Lorcan, and Danny Burch versus Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Roddy entered the usual Undisputed Era fanfare, but Kyle isn't with it. After break, Kyle starts with only refuses tag Strong, only bringing in the champion. We see Finn and Pete blocking his finishes. Sling Blade connects, but dropkick follow-up takes out the referee, who's dealing with Birch, doing something with a belt. I mean, not in that way. Finn still goes up for the coup de grace, but here's Adam Cole to knock him off the top. Cole then stalks Cole and pump kicks him. Brainbuster on the steel steps. Whew. I imagine JR's voice in my head going, damn him! Damn him!
Yes.
Always. Strong then lays out Birch, who again had the NXT title. He takes the title to Finn, who hits him with the Pele, but looking. That leaves Dunn to sneak in and hit the champ with the bitter end, dumping Balor. Yay! And the Hills head up the ramp, leaving Finn alone in the ring. He picks up the title, turns into a super kick from Cole. The ref calls for help for O'Reilly, and Cole grabs Balor's title and holds it up as the show ends. What were your thoughts on that?
Man, I really love this match. There was no way this match wasn't going to be fun, though, with everyone involved. I mean, with Pete and Finn's chemistry still, from the takeover, leaking into this show, and, with the Undisputed Era's business. And, of course, we all know what Lorcan and Burch can do. I thought the match itself was great, but everybody knows, I know what went viral and what caught my attention was what happened after the match. And people weren't even really sure when this happened if O'Reilly was actually okay, so that added an element to it. So I think that really put this feud into that level of, okay, now we know they're going for it. The next takeover, we're definitely going to get Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly if he's okay. So this was a really, really good segment, and it made Adam Cole look like a piece of what. You know what I mean? He really looked like trash doing that to not only someone he claimed was his friend, but also you got to see kind of what Adam Cole's thought process was with him attacking Balor at the end and holding up the championship. So it did a great job of letting you know where, because I don't think at this point Adam Cole has spoken about anything yet. Yeah. So it really gave you a good idea of where this was going.
What I was going to say, though, is because obviously, like it's talk about the stretcher job, Kyle O'Reilly kind of collapsed after the show went off the air. They weren't sure on Twitter. Personally, I don't like these angles. And it's only, I think part of the reason is when I was a very young kid, I watched Over the Edge 1999. I watched it live, and I was only 12, 13 at the time. And when it happened, you're kind of not sure. Right. And kind of since then, every time I see it, and I don't know if it's just because I saw it and I just think it's in bad taste or in a certain way. I'm not feel comfortable because I want to know if the performer's actually safe and healthy or not. And I know it's a bit weird. I know stretcher jobs have been done wrestling, but I think that's me personally. I mean, what are your thoughts about the whole kind of the way that they did? I think stretcher jobs, they did too many during the Attitude Era as well. After a while.
Yes. I was just about to say that's one thing. It was a staple of that time, and it kind of, like you said, I agree 100%. That it was overdone. So when it comes out now, you think the worst, especially since they stopped doing it for a long time too. Like, it wasn't that many stretcher angles that wasn't legit serious. This guy cannot make it backstage. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I understand that completely. The fear that I was, not only me, but just, I watched the spot and I thought everything was fine. The fear didn't really set in to where you hear, like, you saw things on Twitter and you saw people saying this and saying that, and that's when it really hurts. It's like, oh my goodness, I hope everything's fine. And I agree 100%. That is something that I don't think, first of all, breaking up the Undisputed Era is big enough on it in itself. This story doesn't necessarily need that. You can make that argument too. So I definitely understand where you're coming from in this case about that. But I also can understand how they thought this could add, to, like I said, making Adam Cole look a certain type of way. So, it is what it is. But I understand completely what you're saying. That fear, you don't want to put your fans through that, and you definitely don't want to think about or to worry about. At the end of the day, we want to make sure everyone's safe. Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, when Io Shirai in some of these matches, or Shotzi Blackheart in some of these matches, we just want her to be okay. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
That's the thing, and especially with the announcers doing the kind of, this doesn't look good. Kind of, it's just, I feel, but anyway, like I said, it is what it is. We move on. February 24th, and Scarlett Bordeaux is drawing tarot cards and predicting the fates of Santos. To the surprise of no one, the prediction ends with obliteration at the hands of Karrion Kross on tonight's show, TikTok. And then we see Dexter doing that weird move towards us in the ring, like a bulldog walking. When he's in all four. That's when my bulldog walked towards me. That's the kind of way it looks towards the ropes. And then the way, that's what I thought, the way as a backstage rally chanting, that's the way, I like it. Austin Theory says that should be a song. They walk out the ring, and Gargano leading the way. They all step through the ropes. Loomis stands there all alone with no backup, staring at a hole. Fearing Hart, or both teams interfering and back off. Candice Ray with distraction lets Gargano hit a drop kick. We get a super kick by Gargano, but he should have known that only works for the Heartbreak Kid to get the victory. Meanwhile, Austin Theory sends a chair into the ring while Candice has the ref distracted. Loomis stands in it with a foot to block the usage. Gargano starts sending his leg while the ref is checking him. Theory teases that he's going to hit Loomis with a chair. Loomis sees it, throws Gargano by charges, and Loomis puts a squeeze around Gargano's neck and puts him to sleep. Ring the bell. The winner of this contest, Dexter Loomis. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I really enjoyed this match. It was, another great, come on, what else is new? Gargano put out a good match on NXT. I mean, that's it's normal. But anyway, at this point, but yeah, I really like this, and I love the story they're telling with the way, the fact that Theory has, he was swayed, with whatever happened while he was kidnapped, really made him, like you said, it was something that affected him when it comes to Loomis. And also, you can even see it here. Hartwell, with some of the faces that they were zooming in on the camera that she was making at Loomis. It was just, I really liked the story there. It was just unique. I wasn't expecting it, and I think that's what I like the most about it. But Gargano has just been great as a heel, and this is just another one of those great moments. And I think Loomis needed something post the he needed another heel to play off like Cameron Grimes, like it worked out with Cameron Grimes. I think Gargano is a perfect person, especially this type of character with the way they story tell. This feud is a great fit for Loomis.
Right down, like I said, Johnny has great chemistry with everyone, sign of a great talent, great visuals in the match. These two have been connected for a while. Will Loomis hopefully get his takeover moment? What of Kushida? Of course, we found out a little bit more. And the other thing that came out of this is Dan Severn is Dexter Loomis's dad. And of course, I was on Twitter about this, talking because I thought, I've seen someone like Loomis before with no personality, but just really like quiet, deadly stare. And then I realised, yes, that must have happened. Dan Severing is Dexter Loomis. I mean, it's amazing we find this stuff out on the podcast. But if you don't believe me,
you just made him scarier. Like now, Dexter already creeps you out, but now you find out he can fight like Dan. Oh my goodness, let's get him. Wow.
Just imagine you hurt Dexter, and then it's like his dad's coming round. You're like, oh fucking hell, no, not. He hits you with a chicken wing. Give Dexter's toys back. Anyway, we see William Regal's outside looking for Santos Escobar. He doesn't know if he's sharp enough to defend the cruiserweight title against Cameron Cross, but he will be stripped and suspended. And then Vic Joseph shows us a video package celebrating MSK winning the Dusty Cup. He shows us a tattoo of his late father. Legacy lives on. And in 3 minutes, MSK have been explained and what their goals are and that they are relatable in NXT. Why can't they do that with more tag teams? I just don't know. We then get an NXT Superstar profile. Shotzi Blackheart for MSK did a backstage interview. They are jumped by only Lorcan and Danny Burch. Ref screamed that they need medical attention for MSK, and the camera cuts away. We finally have a challenge for the titles and the match. Only word for MSK is that they got called up for NXT and they get fucked up in the main roster. But let's hope not. Up next, we've got Aaron Paul with Malcolm Bivens versus Leon Ruff. Before Leon Ruff can make his way to the ring, we get a cutaway with Bivens, Golden Ruff, and accepting the match. Unless there's here swerve, Scott beat you too bad. He also cuts a promo in the ring bragging about his diamond or a wrestler entrance music hits. And believe it or not, as he makes the entrance, as our Swerve Squat attacks, he drags a helpless Ruff over the commentary table, saying he deserves his time. Then hits a release German suplex, sending Ruff back first into the apron. Bivens raises Paul's hand as though he's just won something. Yeah, well done. Great victory there. Scott looked so comfortable as a heel. Quick note, do NXT do heels excellently? But how many faces in recent times? You know, when you talk about
That's
that,
fair.
like I've thought about Aleister Black, Keith Lee, Undisputed Era, but the heel line is it's ever growing, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Keith Lee was the first one that just came to my mind, but I agree. They are really good. And you know what? That's perfect because Triple H run this, and I love him as a heel. And he was cool. He made me laugh at times as a babyface, but he was, we all know Triple H is much better as a heel. So it's kind of funny that the show is kind of, turned out that way.
Also, after it hit the pedigree, it pins you after 19 seconds or something.
Oh God, don't get me started. Oh my goodness, do not get me started. Oh my God. Poor Booker. Booker.
We come back to that anniversary every WrestleMania time. You think, fuck, I remember that time. Anyway, in the segment taped at the Performance Center yesterday, winning Regal off his Zoe Stark, an opportunity against Io Shirai. Stark tries to get an interview. Technical difficulties, she's cut off. Were they actually technical difficulties, or I don't know? Stark makes her ring entrance. Shirai is shown walking backstage. We go to commercial. Cameron Grimes started to reenact the segment with Ted DiBiase offering a kid money to dribble a basketball, but Grimes didn't watch the segment closely enough because he fails to realise DiBiase kicks away to avoid paying. so he's at $1,000. Grimes is beside himself with frustration and anger. If he's so rich, like, why would he even care? What a lovable idiot. Yes. And then it's Io Shirai versus Zoe Stark, non-title match. Shirai climbs up to brawl with a Hurricane off the top, backbreaker. Shirai gets a 2.9, start with a near fall off a German. Shirai counts another German into the bottom turnbuckle, gets up across the ring for a double running knees, and then hits over the moonsault and gets the pin. Win of the contest here, Shirai. She is so cool, she really is. We get a couple of missteps to begin, a nice 450 roll and crossbody collision. Stark has got enough. Hard work will get you there. And now shows how good she is making Starks look like a legitimate threat, I always remember Triple H versus Taka on Heat, I think it was back in the day. And at one point, I thought Taka Michinoku was going to beat him. And at that point after the match, I thought that is what wrestling should be. It's not going to happen, but you get carried away and you go, Taka Michinoku is going to beat him.
Exactly, right? I think that's what's missing in a lot of times. I thought this was a great point, a great scenario of this point with this match. And by the way, everything Zoe Stark has done so far, she's definitely deserved the praise I've been seeing that she's been getting. Like, for someone who's new in NXT, she fits right in. And but I that's missing in a lot of things, like not only on the main roster, but in a lot of wrestling. Sometimes you just get to a match, you see it, and like, okay, I know who's going to win this match. but like that's what makes being in wrestling fake. Those moments when they choose to, oh my goodness, is he real? Like you said, is Taka Michinoku about to beat Triple H? Like, are you kidding me? On Heat? And then, think about the scenario. The more you, I ain't gonna lie. When you say, the more you think about it, there's no way he was with it, right? But that just shows you how good. Like, that's a really good match if you really think that was going to happen. So yeah, those are the best matches, man. Especially when it's the underdog, and it works really well when it's someone you're unfamiliar with. That can make you a lifelong fan of someone, So it works.
Without a doubt. Well, we get Tony Storm come out to mock the winner. Last week I kicked your head off and didn't do a damn thing about it. There's a reason you pinned Mercedes at Takeover and not me, because you can't beat me. Io Shirai said, I will fight you anytime, any place, anywhere. Storm's like, will you, Lo? And Io's like, yeah, I've just said that. And then Regal says, you want to make the match, you're on. Good shit. Backstage, Johnny Gargano lambasted and Theory for not hitting Dexter with a chair. Theory says he's a misunderstood guy. Gargano says he's kidnapped you. He's not misunderstood. He's a psychopath. Yeah, he should be in jail. And then Indy Hartwell says, actually, I think he's kind of hot. And Gargano's like, look, I'm not going to let you get weird, whatever that was, and you're getting away. Exactly. You're going to therapy. It's happening. I don't want to hear another word. We're out of here. Again, it's quite funny. And then to carry on with the last, Cameron Grimes says he's got it figured out now because he saw the whole Ted DiBiase segment. He offers a pretty lady $1,000 to dribble a basketball, but it's former WNBA star Royal Howard, a recent W signee, like the Ed DiBiase thing back in the day. She's sitting on the curb, and when she stand up, she's taller than Grimes. He tries to kick the ball away, but she does a crossover dribble, and he fouls again. Ted DiBiase, this ain't over. Again, giving it his all. Up next, Enter the Dragon. Zia Lee versus Katie Catanzaro. Casey and company enter first before an angry Zia Lee shows off her martial arts moves and then enters the ring to try and attack Catanzaro before the opening bell. Mei Ying looks on from the entrance front with Barrow at side. And to be fair, she's not bad for her age, but is 2,000 year age gap just too much to come over? That's my fault. I don't know. How old is she? Well, she is 2,000 years older, but she looks nice when she tries. I think that could be the problem.
2,000.
No, it's just,
we're in the year 2021, right? She was born in the year 21.
I'm guessing she might be older, she might be younger. But she looks good on it. She looks good on it.
Looks really good for 2000, bro.
She might have had some work. But not a lot, like.
Yes, she's aging really well.
Whatever cream she's using, it's like,
I don't skincare. I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever. She's on top of it. On top of it. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Lee destroys her right knee and the ref comes out to check on Catanzaro. Lee grabs her and drags her back in the ring apron like a cave woman. The ref calls the match off because Catanzaro is too injured. He continues Lee. She's squashing them all. But Kaden Carter's had enough and tries to confront Mei Ying. He signals to Zia Lee and Lee hits a spin kick to Catanzaro's head to drop her. Lee gets out of the ring and yells at Carter, "You're next." And she and both stand at Ying's side as she sits on her throne. Say what will, these types of reasons why the women's division is top notch. Because even this, in the kind of segment that it is, it's got the women involved. And even if it is fucking mental, it's insane. It's still, it's still taking up time and segments, which is still good,
Right, and it's a story, like someone who was someone like Xia Li who needed something to her character. I don't know if she needed all of the lore, but she needed something to her character. And I must say, by the way, I got to point out, it's hilarious to me. How do they expect me to believe this is some mythical creature when Kaden don't even believe it? Because instead of attacking Xia Li, you walk up to her. Like, that would help. Like really? She must not believe the story either, for that matter. But anyway, besides the fact, yes, I agree 100% because, a lot of times I know AEW's women's division gets a lot of not their division, but their booking of that division gets a lot of flack for how they do it. And this is one of those elements that I think, like you said, make NXT's women's division one of the best. They have the fact that we have a lower card / mid card like feud like this that's not really over anything other than establishing Xia Li as this brutal force, or Tien Shaw, I guess, is the entire group name, and showing that they are a force to be reckoned with. So the fact that you have a match that, like you said, a lower card, really not really about anything, but is involving the ladies in this aspect is really great. And this segment worked for what it was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, meanwhile, Regal's still outside looking for Santos Escobar. No sign of him thus far. We get Hyper Women's Tag Team match. Kai needs to get the pin. Cameron Grimes has finally figured out a way to win the basketball challenge. Punch someone in the face on the first dribble. He's so excited, though, that he throws his money everywhere, yelling, Ted DiBiase, kiss my grits, and it leaves with all his money on the concrete next to the man he knocked out. I do want him to find Ted DiBiase and buy the $1 million belt off him, or some sort of interaction between the two. I think it needs to be done. And then it's Killian Drake and Drake Maverick versus Grizzled Young Vet. Has announced that Wesley has broken hand, will be out of action for the next several weeks. They say the Dusty Cup, the better team lost, and only one team deserves a title shot, and it's not Shrek and Donkey. Naturally, it's Jack Gibson and James Drake. Again, great promo there.
Yes.
We see Dane tagging after the break to run over Gibson and Drake. He picks up both men, throws them out with ease. But a match is interrupted by breaking news that Winning Regal's made Io Shirai defend a title against Tony Storm official for 2 weeks. And then Drake Maverick is firing up. Gibson tags in, gets the near fall. Drake does a suicide dive to wait Dane out. Maverick hits a bulldog and Gibson goes to the top rope. James Drake grabs his leg. Gibson throws him off. Drake tags in. The veterans hit tickets to Mayhem for the win. And Killian Dane carries Drake Maverick to the back. I love both teams. Drake shines in any role. And all British in the ring here as well. Not many people might recognise that.
Nice touch.
I think the thing with NXT, and one thing it doesn't get credit for, is the kind of multinational. You talk about the English experience, and of course, Japanese wrestlers and everything. I mean, back in the day, it was just so American and Canadian, and now it's kind of night and day for it, And it's not a character doesn't have to be a kind of representation of, not really Regal with like a cup of tea or,
Exactly.
I like it.
I agree though. I agree 100%. Like, it's a complete representation of a lot of different cultures and different people. Really, what wrestling today really exemplifies what wrestling has always been around the world. It's always been different forms of wrestling, different talent working and professionally. So I agree 100% that's always been that has become a very nice touch, because like you said, for a while, anybody who was foreign, they had some stereotype attached to it. It's like you said, if they weren't American or Canadian. And I mean, they even made Americans act like foreign. No, don't get me started on Kofi Kingston, who's from like Massachusetts, and you're Jamaican now. What? Just because he practiced his Jamaican accent. I know it was his gimmick before he got there, but like, continuing to parade him around, finally figured it out that, all right, we know he's not. So
yeah,
but yeah, I'm glad that stuff like that is done. But as far as this segment in itself, I really liked, like you said, not only the element that Drake Maverick is one of the best. He's always going to be really good at not only at anything he does. I think he can get over as a heel and as a babyface, but he's so good at these roles, because nobody can get sympathy like Drake to me, like, almost sometimes. Like, he is so good at just making me want him to, like his hot tags, the way he come in, like, I'm excited because, like, I want to see what Drake does next. So I really love, like you said, both of these teams, even though I do think the ending was pretty predictable. And that's probably one thing that Killian Dane and Maverick, so far, their matches have fallen into. We all know what the strategy is to beat them, and that may not be good for them long term.
Yeah, that's why they were my picks for the Dusty Classics. So anyway, we see an SUV pull up outside, and Legale step out of stand guard. Is it time for Santos Escobar at last? We'll find out after the break, and we're still waiting for that explanation from Adam Cole. Nice on of him either. But it is a no disqualification match. Santos Escobar versus Karrion Kross. The match starts in the parking lot as Kross runs outside to beat up Escobar's flunkies from El Legado down Fantasma. Kross throws Escobar face first to production truck, but misses with a right hand and slams his arm into it. Escobar climbs into a passenger door of the truck, so Kross just rips the rear view mirror off and pierces the door of the truck with a handy pickaxe. The flunkies attack Kross again, and one gets tossed onto the hood of the truck. Escobar picks up a trash can and slams it into his shoulder. It's now a 3-on-1 assault on Kross. The guy that dragged Kross into the CWC, but he starts firing up and throws Wilder Mendoza through the fence to the ringside area. What a visual. That was fucking brilliant. You know?
Yes. So nice. Oh, my goodness. I was screaming. Actually.
It was just like, whoa.
Yes. Yes. Holy, you know what.
Escobar continued to attack the left arm and shoulder. He went after with a trash can outside, throwing Kross into the steel ring steps to hurt even more. We get commercial. Escobar hits a suicide dive just when Kross seemed to have the upper hand to knock him back down. We've got some classic babyface booking here as Kross is having to overcome overwhelming odds. Escobar shoves him into the steps and tries to wrench the left arm ring post. Kross yanks Escobar forward and head bounces him off the post. Kross almost destroys him with a chair, but Legado makes the save. Kross throws Mendoza and tries to throw Mendoza through the barricade. He gets back in the ring to attack, and Escobar rolls out some steel steps by the announce table. Kross climbs up the steps for Saito suplex through said table. He throws Escobar back in the ring and singles for the finish. It hits an arm to the back of the head of Escobar and gets the pin. What a match. I know Santos stepped up, but I mean, Legado was a serious threat. I don't know, but that was a hell of a match, you know?
It was a really great match. It was so entertaining, like from the beginning, you know, with the brawl outside. Even though I think by the time the end of the match happened, the brawl outside, and it's funny, usually they don't happen. But when you start fighting in the parking lot, usually it's one of the most memorable moments in a match. But, it was memorable, but it didn't really matter because, like you said, once they got in and around the ring, the spots were just insane. And this match itself was just so good. And I honestly, I got a question for you when it comes to this, though. Does it take anything away from you that it's like three guys on one? It didn't take much away from me, but like, does this make, I actually came away thinking Legado, like you said, looked better, even though they were the ones, it was three guys against one and Escobar ended up losing. I think they looked better in the end. What did you think?
It's the position of Kross, it's the fact is, if this was against Tyler Breeze, then you might have gone 3-on-1 here with, to not get the job. I think if we look at Legado, no offense to Wild and Mendoza, but they're probably not legitimate threats for the titles. Right. But as they can build the heat back up, and I don't think it's a position. But for Kross to dispose of these three guys, and then it's not just a kind of he beat Santos easily, and Santos could even say like, well, with this all going on, it wasn't a straight up wrestling match.
Exactly.
Like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. I know they're shitting over Legado, but Santos needed something to do.
Exactly.
And this is a big match on NXT,
I agree. It was a main event. It was a big spot, and especially for, like you said, Cruiserweight. I saw a lot of people didn't understand this, and I think for when they saw that this was the direction they were going in, people were like, "Why is Kross doing this?" And it ended up being like this match was way more entertaining than it had any business having to be. Is my point. When you think about the placement of the story, because we know Kross is not doing this for the belt, but we also know Santos really should have kept his mouth shut, to be fair too. So I saw this coming, and I just have to give both guys credit. They knocked it out of the park because I was not expecting this. Well, all the guys credit because they knocked it out the park. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
No, I'm without a doubt, really, really good stuff. We get an earlier today video package from L.A. Knight saying he'll debut on my time and my terms, even if he debuts 3 months from now. Doesn't make a damn bit of difference because he'll stomp down every single person on the NXT roster. Next, Adam Cole answers the questions. Now, we're going to do hopefully a bit of role playing here. So I'm going to be Adam Cole and you could be, of course, Roderick Strong. If it doesn't work, then at least we've tried it, But anyway, we get heel reaction We get caught up with everything. Cole has the mic, and he says, I had every intention of coming out here tonight and explaining why I did what I did to Kyle. But God, man, after watching that footage, I feel sick to my stomach. Everyone knows that the NXT title is important to me, especially guys in the Undisputed Era, but I don't like who I've become in the last few weeks. I was pissed that Kyle got opportunity after opportunity and continued to fail, but that does not excuse my actions. After watching that footage, I'm ashamed of myself, Kyle. Kyle, no, you're sitting at home right now and you're watching this. I wish so badly we could be saying this conversation face to face, man to man, but we can't. We can't because of me, Carl. You know me better than anybody in the world. I hate to admit when I'm wrong, and I'm telling you right now, I was dead wrong. Right here, right now, you should be in this ring, but I made a stupid mistake. I hate myself for it, Carl. Carl, I'm so sorry, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to fix this. Damn it, I'm gonna try. And now Monty as Strong.
Strong comes out. Now you feel bad? For the past 10 days, you didn't let me know what was going on. Why? What you did to us. This whole thing was built on brotherhood. We had each other's back, no matter what it was, and just like that, you shattered that trust. I need you to look at me. I need you to understand this, Kyle. Kyle is going to heal. When he does heal, I don't know if I can save you from what he is going to do with you.
Finn Balor has something to say too. Well, actually, he's not saying it with a mic. He shoves Roderick Strong out of the way and takes Adam Cole down. Strong comes in to make the save. Cole lays out Balor with a super kick. Strong gets back in the ring. Cole says, "You got to listen to me." And Strong lays him out with a clothesline. Cole says, "I'm sorry, Roddy. I don't want this anymore. I want this to go back to normal. I screwed everything up."
What is happening? Strong gets up down on one knee and says, "You're my brother, and I love you."
Well, they have a big bro hug in the middle of the ring. Strong goes to clasp hands with Cole and pulls him to feet, but Cole uppercuts him in the balls. Cole then says, "You are stupid." He rips off the chain off Strong's neck and kicks his head off. Another loud chorus of boos as NXT goes off the air. What a great segment for me and you there. Well done. That was brilliant.
I feel like a voice actor. I was looking at the script. I was like, okay, what's next?
Yeah. What a segment. Cole is just a great heel, isn't he, you know?
Oh, it was so good. Those crocodile tears, man, just coming out like, I'm going to make it right. I knew it from the jump. And it made it. Usually that can kind of ruin it, that you know that the turn is coming. But not when he did it, because he laid it all out there. He seemed very, very genuine. They even, like you said, had the thing with Finn included, and I just knew the true colors were coming. And you know what? That was one of the times that, I'm not necessarily, maybe I am always on the heel side, but even if not, I was definitely on Adam's side when he called Roger Strong pretty stupid, because he looked like a stupid babyface in that scenario. But I understand they were brothers, so, I get it.
Well,
it was great segment.
My problem with this is, like I said, it was a great segment, but I think Bobby Fish has gone into his kitchen, got some ice cream, sat down, at home chilling, like some boxers, puts on the TV and goes, "What the fuck? They didn't tell me." What's this? Like,
oh my God! He gonna come back.
Goes to the WhatsApp group, and it's like everybody's left the group, and he's going, "Well, what's happened here?" Like, poor Bobby Fish.
Bro, I know he is just so confused. Like, oh my God, what is going on? He's just like us.
He's messing around with Cole. Adam Cole's like, "New phone, who dis?" Fish like, oh man. But like I said, great episode of NXT. It did lose the ratings, but hey, 3rd of March now, we continue NXT. We're back in the Capitol Wrestling Center. Show opens with a video package showing what happened at the end of last week's show between Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and reminds us that the women's tag team titles will be on the line tonight. That's not the only tag team match on tap. Only Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa in a non-title. So then we see Imperium have made they're standing there watching the action to start us off, and of course it's the tag team title match we've just talked about. The distraction of their rival Thatcher for making a hot tag to Ciampa, and Ciampa himself gets knocked off the apron where Lorcan tags in. Lorcan and Burch hit their assisted spike DDT and get the free count as the NXT wrestlers watching boo. Winners of the contest only Lorcan and Danny Burch. Wesley, we talked about injury saves the match for Takeover. I'm still not used to Ciampa with hair. And is there a harder style to NXT now? I mean, we mentioned the kind of Evolve NXT show at the start. But have you noticed a more kind of laying it in a little bit more, or has that just been the evolving style of the past couple of years or so?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's definitely starting to be more so just like the way wrestling is now. I've seen a lot of like you said, strong style, the British style wrestling elements in not only in WWE, but like you said, in wrestling in general right now. But I do agree, NXT has definitely leaned more towards that. I don't know if it was those fight pit matches, like you said, it was these great matches. Thatcher, I think Timothy Thatcher is a great example of not only laying it in, laying it on, like, being a great striker or striking really, really, effectively, but also with the submissions and, with the chain wrestling. So, but like you said, you got Birch and Lorcan, you got guys like Dunn. Finn Balor's been wrestling a way more physical style, even though we know he comes from Japan with, with like a strong style. He has experience with that. You know what I mean? They have the talent for it. Adam Cole has experience with that. So when you look at the makeup of their roster in NXT, they have a lot of guys who really just fight, who wrestles like that anyway, if you know what I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of just turned up to another level, in my opinion, as of late. And I love it. I think that's the way pro wrestling should be. I want everyone to be safe, but at the same time, it's nothing like, like, for example, when Walter chops someone, you cannot tell me that you look at pro wrestling and just be like, this crap, this is nothing. No, you listen to those chops. I don't care who you are. That feel like your chest that look like your chest. And every time someone takes it, I think they're in danger.
Yeah, like I said,
and I love it.
Jack Stars has still got a red mark on his chest from the very first chop Walter delivered in NXT UK about 3.5 years later. So it's true. The Strikes of Brutal was a really good match. And then Roderick Strong is making his way to the ring. We get some commercials, and then Roderick Strong is out. And this is where Monty does his best Strong impression again.
See, this is there I go. See, I'm a bad voice actor right now. Okay. Anyway, Adam Cole, get your ass out here right now. He doesn't. No surprise, Adam. If any single one of us meant a thing to you, just a little bit, please get out here right now.
But that's not Adam Cole's music, though. It's Finn Balor. And Balor says, Roddy, when are you going to learn that Adam Cole's not going to come out here for you? What do you think? Adam's going to come out here and offer you some sort of explanation for what happened?
Hey, Finn, you know what? I found this really funny. Really funny, because the Undisputed Era was doing perfectly fine until you showed up. So in my mind, this whole thing is your fault.
Well, Balor takes exception to that and gets to the ring. It's my fault. Let me tell you something. It ain't my fault. The reason why you still got fell apart is because of this title. I know how to get on the card here. Next week, Adam Cole versus Finn Balor for the NXT title. That's for you, buddy. You'll never be a leader. You're always a follower. Do you get a little more greedy, more selfish? Do you get to the kill instinct like your prince? You never. Roderick Strong attacks. The two start brawling all over the ring as a series of Foot Locker employees hit the ring to break it up. Let them fight. Let them fight. And then we see the Way go into therapy.
Oh my God, Finn. The Finn voice is hilarious because how on point it actually ended up being. Oh my goodness.
It's a good way to start. We see Roderick Strong, of course, and Finn Balor saying, no, you'll give me Adam Cole. Way in therapy, we got Linda Nicoli, MD. So she normally sees patients one-on-one, but Johnny Gargano says he needs his whole family here. Gargano says Dexter Lumis is a problem. He kidnapped Theory, but Gargano acts like nothing happened. Theory said, I was on vacation, man. Kind of very old sweetie, being locked for somewhere for 3 days. That's not a vacation. No. Indy Hartwell said, well, with the right guy, it could be. And Nikolai then asked Theory if he's into now, and he says, no, Dexter Lumis is a good guy. He just needed a friend. Hartwell's been doodling on a pad and Gargano demands to see. He rips out her hands and it says Mrs. Indy Wrestling Loomis. He screams and gives her name as a Christmas. She's ruined Christmas. Gargano screams to the doctor that Loomis would be locked up. Miss Gargano, it seems like your hostility towards Mr. Loomis is exposed to some deep-rooted issues of your own. Gargano says, oh no, I see what you're doing. You're trying to make this about me. I'm not here to be therapied. You're the therapy on him. You don't therapy on me. She tells him, slams the door shut behind him. what are your thoughts? I mean, what are you doodling? This is fantastic on all parts, really, wasn't it? You know.
Oh my goodness! I was literally waiting for the next therapy. Like I was hoping it. Like once I found out it was going to be going on throughout, I was just so excited, just waiting for the next one to see what was next in this. Like you said, the therapy sessions. I knew from the beginning. First of all, WWE, the last few times I've seen them do therapy, have usually have a pretty decent track record with it for the most part. I think off the top of my head, and so. I knew Gargano and the way and his current character, I knew he would knock it out of the park, and he did. Austin Theory being dumb, playing the dumb guy, it works well. Indy Hartwell, I can't even fathom the attraction, but it's still hilarious. To no one, it's great that no one else can fathom it either. So it's cool.
It was like I said, you were just waiting for the next part, but we see Cameron Grimes said he wants to change the CWC to the CGA, the Cameron Grimes Auditorium. The producer wearing a headset asked if he get that approved. I got enough money, man. I can prove anything round here. Let me tell you. How's it going, Mr. Regal? Regal says he's a little busy right now. And Cameron, stand up, please. Grimes tried to ignore him, so he says it with more forceful grab. He says, last week, you hit a crew member and I got a potential lawsuit in my hands. Grimes tries to offer some money and starts counting out dollars. Regal says, don't worry about money. I'll take care of that. It's you that I'm not happy with. Grimes says, oh, I understand. I want some more money. All right, no problem. I got enough money. I got Kiss My Grits money, you know. Everybody has a price. Regal says, I have no idea what that means. I know I have a contract for you tonight with your name on it. And you'll be facing the colossal Bronson Reed. And then Grimes screams, that damn Ted DiBiase, and leaves. I didn't know, and I don't know how much comedy was actually in NXT. You know, like, it's like a sitcom.
Oh my goodness, it is hilarious. And sometimes intentional, and sometimes it's unintentionally hilarious. Like, it gives you a great balance of, like you said, great wrestling, great action in the ring for the most part. And like you said, just some hilarious moments, and I think I commend them for doing that, because a lot of this stuff, like you said, the therapy and then the segment, right? It's just great. I like you said, you just find yourself constantly laughing.
Honestly,
you're either wincing because you saw a spot that was insane, or you're just laughing your butt off. Like, it's a great time. NXT is a great time.
I was saying, when you're doing notes and you're thinking, oh, this is brilliant, because you don't have to do a lot of work to it. But up next, Ember Moon versus Aliyah, or Nymph. Kamara and Stone tried to interfere, and Blackheart hits a dive to take them both out. Ember Moon hits the Eclipse for the win. Thoughts on this? The Eclipse. I do love seeing it. Nymph has been in developmental for 6 years and still looks green. We mentioned it earlier. How can you be in developmental for 6 years and not have anything,
I don't understand it. And I actually, like I said, I think she has a unique look, and maybe as a matter of fact, even her relationship with Robert Stone could actually be used, I think, much better to at least hide some of her deficiencies. But that's the thing, it makes you wonder. They've avoided putting her in the spotlight, or in the ring for a lengthy amount of time for a reason. And like you said, sometimes she still, looks green or looks slow at moments and all that. And I'm rooting for her, but it's like you said, it's been a long time. She's seen a lot of women's classes, a lot of people come and go. She's watched Ember come in, leave, and come back.
Yeah,
same thing with Finn. You know what I mean? I think so. It's crazy when you think about that. But by the way, another thing, Robert Stone, when he had Chelsea, he talked all the time. Now he rarely gets since Shotzi Blackheart got rid of him, he rarely talks. And I was just, noticing that. I wondered that. I don't know what their plans are for Robert Stone, but that was interesting to me.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. Then we see Thatcher and Ciampa being interviewed backstage by Mackenzie Mitchell. Thatcher says, "We've come from somewhere, Miss Mackenzie. We all have a past. These guys keep throwing mine in my face." Ciampa interrupts. His past with Imperium is just that. It's a past. Are we done here? They close the locker room. Mackenzie shakes her head. We then get a video package promoting Io Shirai defending the NXT Women's title against Toni Storm on next week's episode of NXT. Shirai says Storm is standing in the way of being recognised as one of the greatest champions in the belt's history. And even though Storm is a huge champion, we're he'll announce to say the words "and still" in 7 days. And then it's Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. We get a full package here, lights down, full introductions of the champions and the challengers. I love the fact that Jack's first NXT opponent was Kai. It was also a callback, of course, to the bent arm from Kai with the slap as well. Kai tries to pick Baszler up, but her knees gives out. She tries again, but Baszler puts the on. Kai is fading fast, trying to fight away, but Gonzalez for the tag. Jack decides to distract the ref, but Gonzalez hit the big boot. We get a ref bump in the process. Jack and Gonzalez crash through the announce tables. Baszler, Kai, and the ref roll down back into the NXT ring. Beth Phoenix says a total physical carnage for these 4 women. The Kira through the clutches applied again. New referee runs down. The announcer screaming that Kai was not a legal woman. That doesn't matter because the referee called for the bell. The submission anyway. The winners and still WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Faults. Well, damn it. But this was a really good match. I was really into this one.
I agree 100%. I really, at moments, thought, that I thought this was going to be. I thought they may have a chance to win it. I remember, I think, predicting that they had a really good shot, of doing it. But I really enjoyed the match all the way until I saw Adam Pearce, and I was just so confused by that. His whole involvement in it really confused me. And of course, I understood it after this, but still. At the moment, I just remember that, making me like, what is he doing here? I just like I'm used to seeing him on the main roster, so it kind of threw me off. But it all made sense in time. But the match itself was really good, and poor Dakota Kai. I feel like I've probably seen her get choked out more times than anyone almost by Shayna Baszler. I don't know. I got to think of
this
it.
This is the thing,
but
yeah.
It's a long history of it, though, at this point.
we were just waiting for that moment for Kai to get one up on Baszler, and I think as long as they do that at some point with the NXT stuff referenced, I think it could be a huge moment. But
yes.
Like I said, it's a bit of a shame it didn't happen. But we get therapy continue for the way, and Dr. Nicoli wants to know why Dexter Lumis has had his eye on Austin Theory. Theory says, I think he just gets lonely sometimes. He could really use a friend, And the article said, I'll be his friend with benefits. Candice Faye said he doesn't want friends. He wants victims. Theory said he can be a little weird sometimes. And Hartwell says, I like it when he gets weird. Johnny Garner keeps texting Candice and Nicole gets pissed. She opens the office door and he falls in. I ordered Uber Eats. You guys want some? Nicole looks at Candice and says, you out. He tells Theory that this is a safe place and asks him to say what really happened. Before we can find that out, L.A. Knight is on his way to the ring to make us, you guessed it, more commercials. We don't get L.A. Knight after the break. We get Isaiah Swerve Scott in the corner studio saying this is Swerve's house. Informs the Ruff that he's a dangerous, savage individual who's just different, and he just doesn't care anymore. And then we see L.A. Knight speaking his piece. He's in the ring and he signals to cut the music because he's got a mic and he's got the floor. I've waited entirely too long to step into this very ring straight down the barrel and say, let me talk to you. But you don't understand. Don't you think I'm about to come in and talk about childhood dreams? This isn't a dream. This is a business. My business. My business involves whipping another man's ass when he steps through those ropes. You might say, hey, man, that guy's a Tom Brady of wrestling. Tom Brady wishes half the man of L.A. Knight. But just like old Tommy Boy didn't come from the first round draft pick, but when he's said and done, I'll be the guy setting records. You got your Johnny Garganos, your Kyle O'Reillys, your Adam Coles. Hell, you got your Finn Balor's, you got your flips, their kicks, their dives. Bring that to my front door and I will beat the absolute hell out of you. I didn't come in to do anything fancy. Not one thing fancy. You might not like how I do it, but I get the job done. Why? Because I last when the time comes to the coronation, don't call me the GOAT. That's overplayed, so overused. Call me the one thing that sets me apart. It's L.A. Knight. Whose game is it? It's my game. That's not an insult. That's a fact of life. What were your thoughts on this?
I thought it did good, again, to establish what type of character he was. He was going to be. I do think his promo style, like you said, is so old school. Like to me, like the catchphrases and the way he does it. Like I said, I always hark back to The Rock. But besides that, I must say, I'm trying my best, but I did not care for Eli Drake, and L.A. Knight is almost in the same vein. And I was just trying my best at this point. It was decent enough. But, I have to admit, maybe I'm a little biased against him. Did not enjoy Eli Drake. But I can't wait to see what happens next with the character. And I think that's pretty much the point of the little introductory promo. He sounded kind of like the Revival, too, at times to me. Bashing not really bashing, but saying, you can flip all you want, basically, and all that type of stuff. So, I'm interested to see, where else the character goes, though. Because right now, I think I have a pretty good understanding of who he is, and I would like to see how this evolves.
Yeah, I think without doubt. Well, next match is Bronson Reed versus Cameron Grimes. And Reed makes his way to the ring, and Knight somewhat reluctantly takes his lead. After departure, Grimes dances his way to the ring, flashing all his money, making it rain on the apron. He goes for a clothesline, but it's turned inside out by Reed. Grimes suddenly decides to take the powder, so Reed does a suicide dive to wipe Grimes out. Pretty impressive to see this guy his size fly. L.A. Knight knocks Reed off the top, and Grimes hits a cave in for the pin. I don't know if this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, but definitely Grimes' time tonight in NXT thanks to Mr. Knight. NXT has some great talent. This was another really good matchup. And then meanwhile, William Regal and Anna Pierce are having a discussion about the wrong woman being pinned in a tag match. And Kayla Carter says she's no idea when Casey Carter will be back from injury, but she doesn't give a damn about Zia Lee. She's going to take her out. Now I see red, no fear, no hesitation. Next week she can come get it. And then we get more therapy with The Way. Dr. Nicole is now alone with Austin Theory. He says he was in a room with boarded up windows, but he ate cereal and watched cartoons all day long, and it was great. Austin, the truth is, he couldn't wait to get rid of you. He said your eating habits are unsightly, your fashion suspicious, and he's extremely disgusted with your fascination with cutting off all your shirts, show your mediocre abdominal section. Theory runs out of the room screaming and crying to get a hug from Gargano. He said he'll take this lady a thing or two. The Way he takes a distraught Theory outside, and Gargano pays the doctor off for a help, then takes one bill back for arcade money. He yells out they're going to Chuck E. Cheese. He leaves, and Nicole says, what a bunch of idiots. Was the punchline worth it on this? I mean, personally, I would have preferred the old lady either mask revealing Dexter or it being his grandma. But I don't know what you
Oh my goodness, I agree 100%. I really wanted Dexter to have some direct involvement in this in the end. That's what I was hoping for. Like you said, I immediately thought, what if like Dexter's actually one of her regular clients, and he's like this, he talks all the time to her, and he's a beautiful human being and all this type of stuff. Like that's what I was thinking. But I was hoping that. So the punchline, like the ending, didn't really hit the way it could have. It had the potential to, but again, very entertaining stuff. And the Way continues every week. No matter what's going on, there's certain guys that you watch, and you just like, here goes this guy. He's here and it's cool. But every time The Way is on my screen, it doesn't matter if it's just a match or promo segment. I'm trying to see what's going on because they have done a really good job of just entertaining me weekly. Same thing with Cameron Grimes for that matter.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. Then it's Evan Rice versus Breezango, but before this match can even get started, the Legado Fantasma members Raul Mendoza and Woken Wild interrupt the moon landing entrance for Breezango. Evan Rice thanks them for the beat, but Legado aren't happy and hit the ring. Evan Rice says they weren't born yesterday and take a powder, but Santos Espa runs out from the back to stomp them down, hits the ring to join his flunkies. They hand him a mic. Santos Espa says, do not make a mistake last week for weakness. If you do, this is what awaits you. Obviously trying to get some heat back. There's no contest, but I've not got a problem with this. And then because William Regal says, because of what happened in the women's tag team titles match tonight, I'm going to make an announcement next week. It's going to change the landscape of NXT, and that leads to the main event for the evening, Finn Balor versus Roderick Strong. We see Balor connected with a sling blade and charges, but Strong goes for a strong hold. Balor winces in pain, tries to crawl to the rope. Strong grabs in the middle of the ring, rolls him for a near fall. Strong tries to go for a lung blower, but Balor counters a double foot stomp. The match continues. Kicks and fists are thrown both ways. Balor takes Strong down, connects with a missile drop kick, goes to the top rope for the coup de grace. 1916, 1, 2, 3. The winner of the contest is Finn Balor. I know he's not Mr. Personality, but Strong is so underrated as a worker and what he's done in NXT. I mean, I love the running forearms on the ropes as well. I thought this was a really good match.
Yes, I agree 100%. Roderick Strong, like you said, not necessarily the greatest when it comes to, maybe like you said, character, but the Backbreaker Messiah is his name for a reason. And ever since the Ring of Honor days, for me, I have been enjoying his work he's just one of the best. I remember pre-Undisputed Era days before, he joined, and just like I was excited, just as excited, for Roderick Strong being there than when I found out that, Red Dragon and Adam Cole was appearing. So, Roderick Strong, is just one of those guys that if you just give him a time in the ring and you give him a chance, I remember I think it was like right around the beginning of the pandemic shows or CWC shows or whatever, and I remember him and Gargano had a great match that I still remember. And it's just like he constantly reminds him when he's put in these situations, just how good he is. And I'm excited. Not only am I excited for the great Kyle O'Reilly Adam Cole feud / match we're going to get from this breakup, but Roderick Strong in a singles capacity again is another thing to be excited about.
I mean, without doubt, let me see Adam Cole coming out at the top of the stage to point. I didn't have a total match in 7 days. That's how the show ends. Next week's show should be massive. Well, let's get to it. March 10th then, and Willie Regal has 2 game-changing announcements. Immediately posted a video package of highlights from Takeover, and now for the first time ever, a Takeover is so big it has to be 2 nights. The first will be Wednesday, April 7th on the USA Network. The second night will be April 8th, exclusive on Peacock. The show will be called Takeover Stand and Deliver. Well, that's the next show we're going to do then. Is the first night Stand and the second night Deliver?
It's Deliver, yes. That's what I believe. Yeah. I absolutely do not like this name, but I'll let it go.
I mean, we can watch Stand or Deliver. You can watch either or. But, I mean, who is coming up with the worst Takeover names recently? It's like Vengeance Day, or the guy that didn't even try last year was like Takeover 31. Just like, why?
Right. Like, I almost rather for this scenario you go back to the numbers. Just if you could come up with something better than Stand and Deliver. Like, all right, so first of all, can you explain to me the stand parts? Like, what is delivering? I guess I get it, but what is the theme of standing?
I don't understand it.
I don't get it. I don't understand exactly.
I understand that you deliver me this, and they went, wait a minute, that is a great name. No, wait, no, I don't. Well, anyway, Regal. They've asked the ladies from the women's division to join us tonight. Each and every week, these ladies prove they're the greatest women in the wrestling business. It's a very competitive NXT ladies division. You have to be very special. These women prove it week in, week out. The winners of the Dusty Road Classic, Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Can you please join me in the ring? After the unfortunate happenings of last week, the Injustice WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, you had to go through I'm sick and tired. That was another name we had for the Takeover one, but it didn't work out. Of the other people making decisions for me, so NXT team have decided to make decisions ourselves. Tonight we're going forward. You are the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Regal lifts the curtain of the podium in the ring to reveal the new belts. Gold plates on white straps. And Dakota Kai says, oh, wow, this is insane. Mr. Regal, you're right. We're the most talented division in the world. We beat all of you. Don't shake your heads at me. We dominated them. They had to create these belts for us. And then Gonzalez said, Joel, better get used to this because we're going to be wearing those belts for a very long time. This brings out Ember Moon Shotzi Blackheart down to the ring. If you're going to be champions, you're going to need a challenger. We beat everyone in the bracket. Why don't you defend those title against us tonight? Willie Regal books the match. It's official. Question for you is, we mentioned this, do we need another set of titles, or should they have just used the tag team titles that the women have got at the moment in a better way?
I believe, I do think they could have. I think it was potentially just booking it in a better way. But I think in the direction that they're currently going in, it seems like they're going in the opposite direction of what fans have hoped for a long time. Fans have always wanted NXT to be on equal billing. It seems like they're going to give NXT its own thing entirely now, if you see what I'm trying to say. Its own type, thing, like NXT champions. Now, is it too many champions in general? Yes, it's just too many champions everywhere. Like, there's a lot of champions and a lot of, just in general as far as like WWE goes. But I think that in this case, it works out and it is needed because, like I said, the main roster could not be counted on to not only book the tag team champions that they have consistently on the main roster, but to send them even to NXT at all. Like, you can't count on it. So at least now you can book your own stories and use a lot more of the able female talent that are, not really doing much or not ready yet for the singles. So I think it was necessary, and I really like the decision. Now, as far as like how deep of the division and how long it'll go, because we talked about it, NXT regular tag team division for a while there. Now it's looking stronger, but for a while there they were floating and not much to do, and they still don't necessarily have the best storytelling now. So it does make you wonder, what will happen? Will the storytelling start to lack? But I thought it was a good move overall, though. But I do also have to say this: why not? You could have just awarded them these belts. And that's another thing. How long has this been in the works? Because you could have let them win the cup and then become the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions.
That makes sense. That makes sense. They're not gonna do that. Like this whole thing of what they did is like, you kind of go with WWE as well. Again, I love WWE, but you watch program and go, what the fuck? Why have I been watching this for like the last 3 or 4 weeks? If you're
Right.
gonna change it, like, what's the fucking? Why have I watched this?
Exactly.
You know. Anyway, up next, NXT Women's Champion versus Tony Storm. Shy puts Storm in a crossface, but Storm gets to the ropes to break the hold. Running double knees by Shy. Shy to the top rope, but no one home in a moonsault. Storm 0, but EO manages to get shoulder up. Not many people have kicked out of that. Now it's Storm going up the top ropes. She splashes down and almost home. Shy puts on the crossface again, and Storm taps out. Your winner and still NXT Women's Champion, Io Shy. I mean, Io is so cool. But what was your thoughts on that match?
Man, it was just really, really great. I mean, it's a display of how these are two of the best wrestlers in the world. You know, men, women, doesn't matter. Two of the best in the world, and it was on display in this match. I mean, I had no. It was especially that Storm. There was moments in that match where I was just like, Io's going to lose this match, and I was shocked. But again, you know, also Shirai finishing with a submission instead of, you know, the usual, moonsault finish, you know, changing up the matches. Every match Shirai has been in, you know, has, especially since she's become champion, seemed like she's taking not only her, you know, taking herself to another level, but her opponent also. This time she ran into an opponent who, in my opinion, could either be on the exact same level or at least definitely in that stratosphere. And that's why I believe this match ended up being, you know, is really, really good. Like, I don't know, close to perfect almost. It was really good. You know, it was a little, probably could have went longer, but it was great.
Well, like I said, excellent match from these two ladies. If this were a takeover, not a regular episode of NXT, I expect they might have gone even further and longer, but they did all they could with the time that they had. And after Finn Balor cuts a promo on Adam Cole, remember Adam, I beat you to win that, and I'll beat you to keep it. And then we get LA Knight. When I first come up with this idea, I didn't think he would have this much time on the show, to be fair. Let me talk to you. Last week, everybody was wrong, thinking it would be LA ring debut. Wrong. I think this time will be next week. Anybody who can find enough tingle in their loins to step in the ring with LA Knight, they're going to find out exactly how that ends up. That's not an insult. That's just a fact of life. And the mate Bronson Reed interrupts and begins manhandling him. Reed promises to make him pay for his actions last week. And Knight says, this isn't your time. This is my time. Officials keep them separated, but back in the ring, hey, they come out to play. Up next, Jake Atlas versus Pete Dunne. Pete in complete control of joint manipulation and good shit like that. But Atlas goes to the top looking for a cartwheel DDT, but Dunne knocks him off and starts stomping on his head. Atlas taps out to the snap arm bar applied afterwards. The winner of the contest, the Bruiserweight. And then Pete Dunne says, hang on, let me get this. Dudley, see, this is my time of year when everybody wants to step up their game. Well, you step up to me. That's exactly what happens. I made my name in the UK, but don't get it twisted. I'm the best technical in the world. I dare someone try to prove me wrong. What he should have said is, I challenge Kushida. But what a match that would be anyway. Marcel Barthel is backstage with Imperium. A long, long time ago, we created something very special, so unique that nobody would be able to represent like it did. What I want you to do is for Tim Thatchers to step in and claim what's rightfully yours. And Fabian Knight says, Tim, we're here for you. We're doing all this for you, but you have to go back to your friend for permission. We'll still make it out to respect for you. I really do like what they're doing with Imperium because obviously with Ring Camp beforehand, Tim Thatcher was involved in that as well. And it's another thing NXT doesn't get a lot of credit. And then before our next match, Leon Ruff informs us, Swerve Scott, that he's scratched and clawed for everything he's got. And next week, Scott is going to be Leon Ruff holding you down again with another rough landing. And our next match is Dakota Kai Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. Blackheart tags back in. There's a double team suplex before Gonzalez breaks up the pinfall. Gonzalez catches Ember Moon when she comes in and gets a 2. Gets tied up in the ropes. Then Kai runs into both of them. They spill out the ring. Blackheart does a bridging back suplex to Kai for the pin. And new champions, the winner, and new NXT Women's Ember Shotzi Blackheart. I mean, poor Dakota Kai, poor Raquel Gonzalez. Their title reign was even shorter than the Miz's run with the WWE Championship. Yeah. What were your thoughts on this? Like, I couldn't believe it.
I was so shocked. By the way, the match itself, probably was better than the Dusty Classic match. Like, it was a great match. I might add. I gotta add that because like I thought the story they told was really, really good. But yes, I was so shocked. I could not believe it. You know, you do this, you make this big announcement. Dakota Kai gives this promo talking about how they beat everyone, and it's just like, and like you said, not too long right after that, it's gone. It's that fast. It's crazy. I have no clue. I have no clue where the thought process was. Well, I found out where it was going, but still, very, very interesting
at this
stuff here.
time,
Very, very
yeah.
interesting stuff.
At
Yeah,
this
yeah.
at
At
this
this
time, I'm
time,
thinking.
so shocking, so shocking.
I was thinking maybe can Kai and Gonzalez go to Mania and challenge Baszler and Jackson, have that moment, we talked about with Kai
Right.
there. But obviously, we'll get into that. We go backstage to Adam Cole. I reminded both of those chumps who lead in the Undisputed Era is the Undisputed Era is dead. When I say it's dead, because as far as I'm concerned, I got rid of the dead weight. Then you think you got me, but I really played you like a fiddle. A lot of people look at you as the greatest NXT champion of all time. And I showed up and had a 403-day reign as the greatest there has ever been. Tonight, I become a 2-time NXT champion. And Finn, if you thought my first one was something, trust me, you ain't seen nothing yet. And that was really, really good stuff. And the new champions get celebration backstage, but Candice Ray and Indy Hartwell boo loudly. Austin Theory asked Johnny Gargano why he paid off the therapist. Gargano says, therapy ain't free. Theory's like, that is true. Gargano convinces Theory that everything the therapist told him with Dexter Lumis is true. He rips his shirt off and screams, I can't take it anymore, and storms off. Gargano is giddy. We then get a promo for Women's History Month followed, and up next is Xia Li versus Caden Carter. Caden Carter's already in the ring when it's not what I call a good sign for her chances in this matchup. But the lights go down for the ominous entrance of Xia Li and Boa with their mental tormentor Mi Ying watching from the throne at the top of the stage. Lee try to get a hot start with a match with her entrance, but Carter knocks her back with a dropkick as the bell rings. Casey Catanzaro limps down her crutches to support a friend. She whacks Lee with a crutch and ref calls for the bell. The winner by disqualification is Xia Li. Catanzaro gets in the ring and beats Lee with a crutch, but Boa steps in to make a save and breaks the crutch in half. Mi Ying gives a thumbs down for the ref to finish her off, but Carter whacks Boa with the other crutch and the two flee for whatever Mi Ying had in mind. Well, anyway, up next, Jordan Devlin is cutting a promo saying, lucky for me and luckily for my NXT, my travel ban exemption got lifted today. And that's bad news for you playing make-believe like Santos Escobar, because next week, you got to see what the reason Cruiserweight champion is. The camera pans over, waiting airplane. We go to a commercial break. And Jordan Devlin, anybody that's seen NXT UK, knows he has been waiting for this moment. It's a bit of shame. He won the title, I think, Worlds Collide in 2020. And, of course, since then, has not been able to come to America. We're finally going to get a bit of that story as well. We then see a video package promoting Zoe Stark talking about growing up on the wrong side of the tracks. Saying Fresh Wrestler was always their escape from the age of 18. It's the same thing you see on WB on the channel, except during a live NXT broadcast USA. Meanwhile, right, Santos Escobar is getting winning Regal's face about what Devlin said. So Amigo show up for a tag team match and he sends them down to the ring. It's Legado del Fantasma versus Grizzled Young Vets. Next, Grizzled Young Vets run down Legado as errand boys who give massages to their boss. Raul Mendoza fights off a double team and tags in Woken Wild. James Drake kicks out of an earful before the match is interrupted by Breezango doing their Moon Man entrance again. Drake hits the Enziguri to drop Wild, but it's not Breezango on the helmet, it's MSK. Wild throws up James Drake for the pin, and MSK erupt with joy. Unbelievably, Legado del Fantasma beat the Grizzled Young Vets, and then Wesley slams his Moonman helmet into the steel steps to break a handle, as Wade Barrett says on commentary, an eye for an eye. On top of that, Breezango actually do come out from the back and join in the action, giving a beat down to Legado. Both of these faces teams celebrating the ring with their helmets and their moon suits. It's fun stuff and a great callback from what we saw last week.
Yes, I was surprised. I actually, I automatically assumed the way they wanted me to, that was, Breezango, and the nice bait and switch. I was just as shocked as GYV.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you go, no, don't use them like this. But again, it was fun stuff. And then backstage, Raquel and Dakota yelling at Mackenzie Mitchell before Io Shirai comes out to confront them and tells Raquel in English, "I want you next." She retorts, "Be careful what you wish for, Chica." Io doesn't give a fuck. The couple of things I liked about this was Kai thought it was her she was going to confront first, and then just kind of like dodged her, and then went chest with Gonzalez, and kind of then stared up and was like, I want you. And I'm going, Io's just so fucking cool.
Oh,
You know,
right.
just,
Oh
my God.
Everything she
Like,
do. She can't do no wrong. No wrong. No wrong.
without a doubt. And then we see Mackenzie Mitchell interviewing Timothy Thatcher. Tommaso Ciampa interrupts. I know my answer. I'm not interested. You know why I'm interested in the general who sits safely overseas while he sends his attendants to do dirty work. But us versus Imperium next week, that's one match that is booked for next week is Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory. Another is Swerve Scott versus Liam Ruff. And the debut of L.A. Knight. But it's our main event now. It's Finn Balor, the NXT champ, versus Adam Cole. Adam Cole enters first, baby, followed by Finn Balor before lights go down for yet another big match introduction. Two get no tools talking trash, but the ref holds up the belt. Title card appears on the screen, the bells rings, and we underway. And getting towards the end of the action, Balor's holding his jaw as the fans chant, "This is awesome." They're not wrong. Cole goes for a Panama Sunrise and connects, but Balor managed to kick out. But said if that didn't put him away, you're going to have to run him over with a Mack truck. Balor tosses Adam Cole out the ring. He looks up for the barricades and his eyes widen at the sight of Kyle O'Reilly. Balor uses distractions to dive to the outside. 19-6 in on the fall from Balor. He throws Cole back in the ring, goes for the coup de grace, connects. 1, 2, 3, the winner, and still NXT champion Finn Balor, baby. Kyle O'Reilly then jumps over the barricade, ropes to the ring. He starts talking to Adam Cole. Cole goes for a low blow, but Riley is clearly wearing a steel cup because it doesn't work. He rips off the armband and a wild brew ensures. Cole knocks him down and tries to escape, but O'Reilly gets out of the ring and gives chase, knocking down the ref, who try to break up the process. O'Reilly smashed him into barricades on both sides and gets bleeped out. He tries to suplex Cole to the steps, but half a dozen referees make the save. He breaks free and goes up to Cole again. Cole stumbles away to the back. Riley gets up and continues to chase. Finn Balor stands in the ring, watching it all unfold in front of him. And standing behind him, it's Killer Cross.
Ooh.
And that's how NXT ends. Folks, we are on the way to Takeover, but what a main event and what a couple of segments at the end.
Oh man, this show was such a very hype ending. Like I ended that show just like very, very excited for what was to come. You know, not only in the Balor and Cross situation. You know, of course, first of all, Finn Balor and Adam Cole, you put them together, it's gonna always be entertaining like that. And I think they've proven that the last 2 or 3 times they've been in the ring with each other that you can just give them time and they will do. They will put on one of the best matches you've seen. But this is all about Kyle O'Reilly's attack. I do want to point out there's a couple of things that's just, as a wrestling fan, it's just always funny to me. You know, I just love being that guy who's like, you know what? Why don't they just all wear cups all the time, like a lot of other professional sports? One, and then 2, the referees. Oh yeah, you're here to save the heel, but when I got dropped on my head, no one was there. I know it was during a match kind of, but still, of course they come up then. But that's just me being petty about certain things. Either way it goes, this part did a really good job of just setting up what was to come, and I ended this show like rubbing my hands together, like ooh,
Well, I thought it was brilliant, but it still lost the rating war to Dynamite, only getting 691,000 to 743,000. Main angle on Dynamite was the Inner Circle War Council. We move on to the next episode of NXT 17th March, and Finn Balor's in the ring. The champ still sank on his mind. St. Patrick's Day 2021, Finn Balor still NXT champ. Kyle O'Reilly beat him. Pete Dunne beat him. Adam Cole beat him. And only one man remains, Karrion Kross. I've been waiting for you, and at Takeover, stand and deliver. Your time is up. That brings out Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. And saying the entire situation was never going to happen until you and I settled our separate affairs. But a vision from Scarlett, but there's a lot of talking. I'm going to skip through most of it because there was a vision basically from Scarlett Bordeaux that she saw them both holding gold, and also said to Balor that basically I see the end for you, and Balor says how it's going to be the main event of Takeover, you're going to choke. But she did say you're both draped in gold, and that leaves out Tony Lorcan and Danny Burch. And they kind of big up Pete Dunne, saying he's the best technical wrestler, should be NXT champion. But, if the boys are so confident, let's make an NXT tag team title match for later tonight. My problem with this segment, I love all that was involved. It felt a very WWE way of starting the show. Do you know what I mean? Like,
agreed.
I just felt it went a bit too long as well,
Yeah, you could pull this segment right off of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
You've seen this done with different people involved, a million times. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, and the first match is Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory, and Dexter Lumis comes out first while Austin Theory gets a pep talk from Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae via Zoom backstage. Heads to the ring, Gargano tells him the final part of the therapy is to face Lumis alone. Personally, I always take the side of the kidnapper. I don't know about you, but when it comes down to it, I'm backing Loomis. I think this is what WWE were trying to tell us.
That's pretty much, yeah, that's the lesson here.
That's a lesson. That's a lesson, kids. Theory with a close.
Oh my God.
Theory with a clothesline. Theory gets up slowly. Loomis offers him a hand, held him back to his feet. Theory accepts, and the two exchange an awkward stare. Theory goes for a hug, but Loomis goes for the silencer. Bad Loomis. Theory then says he knew better not to trust him, goes to the slam, but Loomis counters and powers Theory to the canvas, locks in the silencer again. Theory goes out cold. Your winner of the contest, Dexter Loomis. This was a good match, and it'd be an understatement to say Loomis is a strange cat, wouldn't it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the overall. I must say, I came away from that match like, who in the hell am I supposed to like in this situation? One guy's an idiot, the other guy, like, and then like you hug him, and I thought it was supposed to be something. Then you just choke him out. I get it. We're in the middle of a match, but it's just like who am I supposed to cheer for in this particular situation? Like you just pointed out, is probably the dilemma. I think we run it, and as a matter of fact, that may be a theme of our pods together, is talking about how Loomis's character is so confusing, and I don't even think WWE know or like NXT in general know what to do with it.
No, I really don't. And then Trust Jumper interrupts Mackenzie Mitchell and says Timmy Thatcher is missing in action. Jumper says that Imperium took matters in their own hands, and he says he's going to do the same. You should go ask Fabian and what happened to Alexander Wolf. When they have no answer, he says you can tell them by the end of the night he will be the last man standing. And then Adam McCall says last week Kyle O'Reilly made the biggest mistake of his life. He cost me the NXT champion. You punk. I will not rest until you try to end my career. I will not rest until I basically end yours. Again, not a bad stuff, but like we said, we've had the break now. We're just waiting for the kind of match itself, But still good stuff. Mackenzie Mitchell with Shotzi and Ember Moon are so proud of being the tag team champions. We're interrupted by Robert Stone, his protege Zelaya or Nymph, and Jesse Camara to get right to the point. They get a tag team title shot next week on NXT. And then we get Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango. Santos Escobar comes up wearing a suit and tie with the interim cruiserweight title around his waist. Company's men Raul Mendoza and, of course, Rope King Wild. We see Breezango basically getting worked on. Breeze gets a super kick. Wild comes back in, but Escobar breaks up. Breeze goes for the unpretty, but it's blocked. Mendoza makes a blind tag, and Legado del Fantasma double team Breeze so Mendoza can get the pin. The winner of this match, Legado del Fantasma. Again, Legado needs to get the heat back. It was a good match, but this is all because of what happened against Karrion Kross, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. I think they needed to show, Wild and Mendoza needed to show how they could, I think it was great that they won this match the way they did it, and it didn't establish, but it just reminded you that they're formidable also in this way. And by the way, every time I watch Breezango, and specifically Tyler Breeze, I just think about how underrated they are, and he is in particular. He is so good in the ring, man. I love Tyler Breeze. Always really has.
I have always said, even when Date Back podcast, 5 years ago, if he was a few inches taller, then he would be. People look at him as kind of like the next Shawn Michaels, because he just had that personality. He's got the talent. I think it is just because he's 5 foot, 5'7", right. 5'8", that he hasn't got the opportunity, which is a shame, But let me see Escobar immediately go to the outstable booth to tell who runs things around here, and he demands to know who Jordan Devlin is. He doesn't have to wait long as Devlin marches down to the ring and says, something, mate, you've been running around here for a year claiming that this is yours, and take a good look, because this is what a real champion looks like. I don't need you to jump me from behind. I don't need two little stooges either. You've been telling everybody you're the king of this division, but the ace back in time. You've been filling in for this, and it's back. And filling in, you're welcome. I made history as a cruiserweight champion, and I've proven it time after time. Somebody called Cyndi Lauper, actually. You know why you see the title, because everybody here forgot you had it in the first place. So wrap up your business in the UK. Come here to face me on the one stage big enough for the Emperor. Take over, stand, and deliver. Devlin's response, a headbutt and a suplex. He bows out the ring full of flunkies, can touch him and walks back with his head held high. Brilliant. You've seen the headbutt. We've seen that there hard way. And there's one thing about Jordan Devlin. He looks like a little person. All right. And I don't use the M word. So he's a little person because the size of his head is disproportionate to the rest of his body. now,
yes, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I don't know how it's happened, but he's bled. Basically, that's what it is.
But that's what a champion looks like, of course.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I put here, have a ladder match, a real throwback to WrestleMania 10. Yeah. We'll see what happens with that later on.
God dang it.
We get another woman in the stacked division, Sarai Warrior of the Sun, soon to make her NXT debut. We then get Dakota Kai Stark. Kai trips wild on the charge. She goes throat first into the ropes. Stark managing to kick out of a super kick. And Kai picks Stark up, but she counts for a couple of near falls and lands a knee. Rolling fireman's go for Stark. Kai kicks Stark. She goes up top. Kai with elevated knees to the face for the pin. And the winner of the contest, Dakota Kai. If this was in AEW, they would nominate this for a match of the year because Kai and Zoe Starks, I think, put on another excellent match. And this is why Kai is so consistent as well, you know?
I agree 100%. It started off like it was probably just going to be a really, not necessarily. It started off like most matches do in NXT, and then they just hit this notch. I don't know what happened, it switched, whatever, and it was just on another level, man. I really, like I said, Zoe Stark has impressed every week, and Dakota Kai, as good as she always is, this was a really, really good match. That I think kind of, gets lost in the shuffle because Zoe's new and Dakota Kai is not like an internet, even though I think she definitely has her fans, but she's not, you know what I mean? Internet.
Yeah,
dog.
exactly. Well, this is the thing, and I think Stark shone again, but she just needs to get rid of that kind of Cena-esque debut outfit, when she finds something about it. It's like the most generic kind of outfit. But anyway, this brings out Io Shirai, marching her way down to the ring with a contract in hand. Shirai ignores Kai and marches straight to slapping the contract in her chest, leaving the ring to help Stark to the back. Undoubtedly, she's already signed it, and Gonzalez only needs to make it official. And then, again, Io's just so cool, just walking straight up to the monster, going, I've signed it, sign it, stop fucking around, It is really, really good. And then Mr. Regal is needed right now because something happened to Adam Cole. We go to commercial. When we get back, the Grizzled Young Vets vow to get revenge on MSK before Imperium make their way to a ring. Tommaso Ciampa runs out to attack Fabian Eichner and grabs Barthel right after the opening bell. Then Tommaso Ciampa versus Marcel Barthel. Eichner makes a save and Ciampa gets hit with a boot to the face. Barthel runs Ciampa's face across the ropes, then cuts a promo of the absent Thatcher from the camera, telling him to step in line. Ciampa catches the boot coming in, hits a big knee. Ciampa with a series of clotheslines, and he knocks Eichner off the apron with an uppercut before hitting a big suplex. Willow's bell for the 1, 2, 3. Thoughts on this? Not a bad match, but Ciampa with hair is still weird. Yeah, I'm not the only one.
Ciampa. Yeah, old man Ciampa. He aged a decade out, out of nowhere, or a couple of decades at that. It's very weird to see that. I don't know if this is on purpose to, I think I heard reports of, I laughed because I'm not saying that he was wrong, but, I heard reports of Vince saying Vince McMahon talking about Edge looking old. Yeah. He has not seen Tommaso Ciampa.
But another thing, not only the fact he looks old, but if he'd have shown his commitment to Johnny, then DIY wouldn't have broke up in the first place.
Yeah, good point. That's a great point. He's been a better partner right now than he ever was to Gargano. Oh my goodness. That's a great point.
But Volta is here. He's standing at the top of the ramp, and Ciampa looks pleased that the General has finally shown up. He has the NXT UK title around his waist. He rips off his jacket to show it off. Ciampa dares him step in the ring. The Imperium Double Team Champion is distracted. Walter unloads with a chop to level Ciampa just as he breaks free. It's 3-on-1 beatdown. Everyone in Imperium stand proudly in the ring over him. Walter versus Ciampa with Thatcher turn at Takeover. Yes, please. I'll take that all day long. Great moment there for Walter as well to make an impact.
I agree 100%. I've been waiting on a moment like that. I've been waiting on Walter. I was waiting on ever since you remember the Finn Balor and Walter feud that was teased. Ever since those days, I was waiting. I've been waiting on Walter to show up in NXT. So this was great. It was great, and like you said, a fight with a guy like Ciampa. Oh my God, they're gonna kill it.
Right, now, meanwhile, Regal's outside the CWC with police officers on the cold screaming profanities at Kyle O'Reilly for trying to run him down. I will not calm down. You are finished. This is what happens to all my friendships as well. Weirdly enough, it's weird. The similarities between trying to get killed on a motorway. It's like if I had a pound. It was pretty weird. Anyway, LA Knight is set to debut next week, but Ronson Reed is stalking him backstage in his cutting promo for a break. And then LA Knight versus August Gray. Knight's opponent is already in the ring as he makes his entrance, which suggests this is a squash in the making. No one's even to bother to introduce him, but it's 205 Live standout August Gray. The referee signals for the bell. Knight is choking him out the ropes, booting him in the face and driving him. Fine Buster. Ronson Reed comes out on top of the entrance ramp with LA Knight's jacket and puts it on, ripping it apart for trying to pull it on. Distraction roll up for a near fall, knee to the head, boots to the gut, face plant, and the match is over. The winner of the contest is LA Knight. And this felt like the old NXT. When like you had the guy debuting, like a Bobby Roode or something like that. Like a proper old of going, oh, this guy's going to get built up now because you're starting them off with squashes,
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I mean, his entrance gear may look like a male stripper, but, I mean, August Gray actually looks like a male stripper. So I suppose,
fair.
if you're going to go with it. How far can LA Knight go at this moment in time, do you reckon?
At this moment in time, they obviously see something in him because, like you said, not only did they give him squash to build him up, they were, putting him in a feud this soon. I was surprised. I know he's been doing the stuff with, Reed for a while, at this point, but it's still, they don't necessarily do that all the time. Throw you directly into a feud. Like for example, Zoe Stark, she's been having great matches with. Coming close, but she's not really in a feud. No one is looking for Zoe Stark. So I think that means that they see something in him. I want to see what this character evolves into before I can tell you what I think is going to happen with it. But he has potential. I will say that. He definitely has potential in this system.
Without a doubt. And then backstage, Gonzalez is happy. Now she's got a contract and a match with Shy wherever she wants it. Kai tells her that's great, but she needs her next week for a tag team match against Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, so show everybody who runs this place. Because I was like, yeah, I'll get behind that. Regal says everything is completely out of control. Hopefully the police drop the charges, because if they do, I'm going to bring them to the Capital Wrestling Centre next week. Nobody can stop them from destroying each other, but I have a solution in mind. And then our main event for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Only Lorcan and Danny Burch versus Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. We see a double down leads to Balor crawling for the hot tag, but Lorcan knocks Kross off the apron before Balor can get there. Balor whips Lorcan back and forth across the ring in response and clotheslines him out to the floor. Sling Blade on the pretty black mats. Balor sizes him up and hits a missile dropkick, but he's not back into Bordeaux. She takes a bump. Kross is pissed and starts beating up his own partner before throwing him back into the ring. And then Only Lorcan with a charging uppercut, beating NXT champion. But it was a good match. The winners of this contest is still champions Only Lorcan and Danny Burch. But unfortunately, it looked like Danny Burch was injured in this matchup. Afterwards, Kross continued to beat down the Balor in the ring. So much for Scarlett Bordeaux's prediction that two men would be draped in gold. He pulls Balor back up to his feet just so Kross can sock him with forearm to the head from behind. So arguably this was a plan all along. She lays the title on his chest and tells him everything happens for a reason. You can't escape fate. That's how the show ends. What were your thoughts on the main event? Because Kross looked like a killer. But, like I said, with the injury of Burch, maybe didn't go the way it should have done, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was probably the main downside of this match. I think it was obvious that something went wrong, and like you said, and Burch's injury really, it sucks because they, Larkin and Burch this is the best run I think by far that they've had, and they were on the money right now. It sucks the timing of this situation, this close to Takeover, to have something like that to happen. So yeah, that definitely put a damper on it. But I think the main event itself, accomplish this goal. Personally, me, and has nothing to do with NXT. I'm tired of the entire week. Oh, are they going to get along? Like when we know they're obviously opposed. That's the one thing I will say that's overdone right now, WWE. But at least in this situation, it was for the story, and it's obviously going to be a one-time thing, and not like, for example, Sasha Banks and Bianca teaming up for I don't know how long, chasing belts when we've known they're going to fight each other for a while now.
Yeah,
and
no,
now you know what I mean. So anyway,
that's an excellent point. Yeah, it's the kind of odd team couple, or the kind of
right.
Can they get through this match? Yeah,
Shayna Baszler and Nia started that way, so it's just like it's overdone.
It's true. Well, we had some bad news because William Regal then announced on the Tuesday that only Birch are forced to vacate the NXT Tag Team Championships. He announced that Birch suffered a separated shoulder last week. That's a bummer. They never defended him at a takeover. But let's hope they get back to injuries and get a chance. So at this point, Grizzled Young Vets versus the MSK for the titles. Unless, what about we have a tag team tournament? Right? Listen to this. And the winner has to tag gold. We don't know what we'd call it, though, but you have like 16 teams. I mean, it's a great idea. Like.
Oh my god, man! Hey, you know what? You need to book. You need to go book. You need to go put in your application.
I think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
Well, we've got 2 episodes to go for NXT. We're on to the 24th of March now, and it should be very exciting. We get a camera showing Adam Cole arriving in the building. And it's time for our opening match, which is Kai Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai. And I put Tony Stark, but I don't think it is.
Oh, what a team!
Iron Man. In the end of the match, he just clicks his fingers, and then it ends for everybody. Shai does a backflip on the ropes to wipe Gonzalez out, and Stark throws Gonzalez back in. Stark misses with 450. Gonzalez plants her in the center of the ring, and both women are down, but Stark is more down. Gonzalez gets up looking at Shai on the outside. The pick starts up by the hair. She boots Shai in the face. She gets the apron. Now powerbomb Stark and pins her for 3. The winner of the contest, Gonzalez and Kai. Gonzalez and Shai face off in the ring. Shai smells Kai trying to jump her and wipes her out, but Gonzalez uses the distraction to nail Shai with boot to the face and picks her up, throws her back first as she announced this. Shai sells her back, arriving in pain as referee checks her. Next, he has a video package of match highlights. When we come back, Gonzalez is smirking and snorting, admiring her devastating handiwork. Stark's impressed again. Io is so cool, and Gonzalez looked like a badass there, didn't she, you know?
Yes, I think it's just like Io being cool, Gonzalez being a badass is one of those things that has become a trend, you know what I mean? And she's just unstoppable, and this did a really great job of establishing that again, and also at the same time, the match is itself did a good job again showing what Zoe Stark could do, also. So
yeah,
I thought this was a really good segment.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. This leads to security footage. Velma Cole and Kyle O'Reilly fighting in Gracie's Jiu-Jitsu training facility. Mackenzie Mitchell interviews O'Reilly backstage, but Roderick Strong interrupts. We need to go out there and kick his ass. O'Reilly says, bro, I appreciate that, but there's no more us. This is just between me and him. And Strong says, you know what? Both of you can just go to hell. And as he walks off, the sad Hulk music plays. You know, the da-da-da-da, and he just like cries. He walks away. O'Reilly says, does that answer your question? LA Knight. And then he didn't do it there. Some reason. He said, I told you 3 weeks ago, whose game is it? It's LA Knights. The ruler is here. Tonight, brother, just like you, we're going to find out. It's game. It's not an insult. It's just a fact of life. The American male will be in action later. Jordan Devlin is pissed off doing a promo. We talked about world-class professional athlete plying his trade at the top of his game all over the world. Japan, Europe, America. University expected tonight. He's going to go one-on-one with Kushida. Brother, tonight you got yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time because I'm going to make an example out of you for Santos Escobar right before NXT Stand and Deliver. Like I said, little person's head there with a nice promo. And then Bronson Reed versus L.A. Knight. And Knight looks frustrated that he hasn't put Reed away yet. He charges and Reed delivers a shot. Knight kicks him and Reed hulks up. Knight runs into a brick wall of a belly and he follows up with a splash in the corner. Reed with a thunderous chokeslam. He goes outside, climbs to the top. Knight cuts him off with Reed's crotch to the top turnbuckle. Knight climbs up and appears to be trying to suplex Reed, but Reed gives him a headbutt to knock him off, hits a tsunami splash full of 3. The winner of the contest, the colossal Bronson Reed. I mean, not exactly an auspicious start to LA Knight's run. When he beat August Gray and then got destroyed by Bunsen Reed, he's going to need to get back on track. It was a good match, but I mean, this is a bit weird, wasn't it?
I agree. I was surprised. I'm so surprised, but NXT are sometimes do this every now and then. Premier character, and they don't necessarily come in and dominate immediately. And not that he's gonna continue to lose. I think this may be a vehicle to explore what he does, in response. Like, does his character get a chip on his shoulder? Does the character, start, being more aggressive, cheating, whatever it is, something may change in LA Knight's character. But yeah, I agree. It's definitely not the start you would assume for the character.
No, he's probably thinking what, but we get a graphic from Danny Burch with a separated shoulder. This is to a three-way match. MSK, Grizzly Young Vets, and Legado del Phasma on April 7th for one night stand to crown new champions. It's a shame, but that doesn't look like a bad match. But up next, there's Karrion Kross versus Oney Lorcan. Before that, we get a video package of Walter. Highlight starts a return for commercial, along with a reminder that Drake Maverick will face him later on tonight's show. Poor Drake. Karrion Kross versus Oney Lorcan then. And Kross and Scarlett enter the Capitol Center. Obviously, Lorcan wastes no time charging the ring when the music hits. There was still smoke left in the ring when he got there. Chris cares not for his furious assault. He stands behind Lorcan, waiting for him to get back up. What I did to your boy Danny, I don't regret it. In fact, I loved it. Lorcan then hits uppercuts in response. Kross charges him with his shoulder face first into the ring post. Lorcan starts throwing chops and face slaps as Kross gets back up. Lorcan chops down the left knee, hits two uppercuts, and now he's one screaming. Kross ducks his next move and hits a big boot by Saito suplex. Kross with a forearm to the back of the head, and this one is over. This was awesome. Not only with the slaps, but the eyes and the visuals. We talked about Tyler Breeze, but Oney Lorcan is another dude who just is fantastic in ring worker, isn't he?
I agree 100%. And what I love, like you mentioned, the eyes. You can tell he wanted revenge for what happened to his buddy and or his partner. And when that happens, and when you can just feel that emotion, like you feel it through the television screen or wherever you're watching it on, and you see, like you said, that the intensity, the slaps, the fight, the fact that Kross seemed to be loving the pain, and it made Kross look like even more of this unbeatable monster also. But at the same time, I think it really made me feel like Lorcan should not be sometimes when tag team partners get hurt, the partner has to go away from television or whatever. Lorcan should continue to be a part of the what they have cooking on NXT. They should not make him sit out just because of an injury to his partner. Like, he should still be working matches, and this was a perfect example of why.
I think without a doubt. And then we see Karrion Kross getting a microphone. He said, "I'd like to take a moment right now to address the actions of from Mr. Balor from last week. You know what? I appreciate that. I realised I was giving respect to a man who didn't appreciate it, who didn't deserve it, despite the fact you're a champion. When I held your little neck in my hand, it just felt like anybody else's. You see, Mr. Balor, when the fuse is lit, there's no stopping what's coming next, which is me. Finn Balor. Balor has a belt over his left shoulder and a mic in his right hand. And then what I really liked about this is that he kind of slowly, right in front of the opponent, Lorcan, just kind of walks over him, doesn't he, and says to him, Kross, you took your best shot last week, but you fight with an emotion, uncontrollable emotion. Mm-hmm. Some people call it demons, but it's not. He said, when you do that, you will get sloppy, and I'm going to push you to the point where you have only two options. One, you surprise everyone and you master your emotions, or two, what I believe will happen last week, your emotions master you. When they do, I'm going to drag you into the cold, deep water with no emotion. I'm going to drown you. They stand face in the ring to end the segment. This was fucking brilliant.
Oh my god, it was so good. Both guys. Oh my goodness, it was so good, man. I love the intensity. The promo was just perfect, like you said. Kross's promo was perfect, and then Balor's response was even better. Because if there's one thing we know about Kross's character, he definitely gets angry, and so you saying you can use that to defeat him was just so smart. I love this promo. It was just great. It really did a good job of setting the stage for what is coming at Takeover.
When a promo is good is when you're excited about other matches, but then something happens and you go, do you know what? I'm into this one now. And this is the kind of promo that was like, I didn't know I was into Kross and Balor this much, but they've told me a story here, And then William Regal says, "Good evening. It's time to announce who will face Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Champion Stand and Deliver. Next week, there will be a 12-man Battle Royal, and the final 6 participants in the Battle Royal will qualify for the Gauntlet Eliminator. The order in which those final 6 superstars are eliminated will determine the entry order. 2 men will start the Eliminator, and a fresh competitor will enter every 3 minutes. Pinfall submission will determine the elimination until 1 man remains. That man will go on to face Johnny Gargano on night 2 of Takeover, Stand and Deliver. Best wishes to all the competitors in the competition." I mean, someone can explain that to me next time, all the rules, but the people in Kushida, Leon Ruff, Austin Theory, L.A. Knight, Aaron Paul, Atlas, Reed, Grimes, Strong, Dunn, Swerve, and of course, Loomis. What were your thoughts when Regal first said this?
First of all, I had to rewind my show a couple times to try to understand what was going on first, and then but once I figured out where they were heading with this, and then the last 6, and then they determined the order. Okay, now I got it. So I'm cool. I think what this really showed me was just how deep the North American title picture is. It's deeper than I even gave it credit. I didn't know, we definitely didn't know LA Knight was considered in the picture already, and and all this type of stuff. So it was cool, but it just shows you just how much talent they have, that you have in NXT. And it ended up being who's gonna make it to Takeover, boys? That's what the Battle Royal ended up being. Like, all right, who's gonna make the card?
I was like, really, really good stuff. And then Kushida has a message for Jordan Devlin, will help with subtitles. He says, "For me, it's all about competition. You're one of the best. For the past year, I've been taking down every superstar steps in the ring. Tonight, you're going to find out what happens when you face the best technical wrestler in the world, Kushida." And then up next, Volta versus Drake Maverick. Maverick is already in the ring. That's not a good sign for what's coming. Wade Barrett's got some bad news for Maverick. Says this can't possibly end well. Walter is flanked by Imperium. Of course, the NXT UK Championship around his waist. Walter is just so imposing. Even the entrance, as soon as you look, you just know it's trouble. Maverick charges him as the bell rings and he's easily overpowered. Walter powerbombs him, turns him over into Cloverleaf for the submission, but he's already out cold, so the ref stops the action. Winner's contest by referee stoppage for Walter. Poor Drake. He looked in great shape before his death. This brings out a pissed off Ciampa. Imperium stand together with the champion. Ciampa said a couple of weeks ago, I said that you intrigued me. I misspoke. That intrigues me. He points at the NXT UK title. He says, "Let's cut the chase, shall we? You know what I want. You know what I want to say, big man." Walter, Ciampa, NXT title, NXT UK title, Takeover, Stand and Deliver. Walter tries to walk away. Ciampa tries to stop him. He gets a beat down from Imperium for his efforts. Walter rips the chain off his neck and then chops him in half. Ciampa crawls over to grab it. Walter puts his knees in the head and says, "I'll see you at Takeover." Wow.
Yes.
Again, I never thought I wanted to see Walter and Ciampa as much as I want to see them at this point in time.
Agreed.
This leads us to Pete Dunne cutting a promo saying he'll dominate the Battle Royal next week, where the Bruiserweight will become new North American champion. We get a video package of Robert Stone offering Mercedes Martinez money to take Jesse Camara's place. And just like Hernandez in Impact, and their match is up next after the break. Johnny Gargano barges into William Regal's office after commercial break, and William Regal mocks him for wearing the North American title around his waist. "Regal, are you cuckoo bananas? Johnny Takeover deserves respect. If you're Johnny Takeover, this should be a problem," says Regal. "What I suggest you do is study your competitors." Gargano storms out, muttering, "I'm not shutting your door." Johnny is so funny when it comes to the little thing. I moaned about him maybe a year ago, saying he needs to get his heel work done, and he's got it down so much now, hasn't he? You know.
Oh my goodness, he comes so far. I remember not being sure. Also, I remember at the beginning, is this really? I don't know. I'm not sure. And like you said, he's settled into it perfectly.
And then Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, the champs versus Elia or Nymph and Mercedes Martinez for the tag team titles. Nymph tags back in, but Moon finally gets a hot tag and starts cleaning the house. Powerbomb is broken up by Martinez just before 3. Referee tells her to go out. Blackheart gives her a DDT to make her roll out in pain. Moon goes to the top for an eclipse. 1, 2, 3. The champions retain. This whole thing rushed to me. I don't know if they were kind of running out of time, whatever they did, but it was just quite a quick match. And on top of that, we go to Cameron Grimes backstage trying to pitch an idea for Roderick Strong. He wants to buy the intellectual property Undisputed Era. Strong responds exactly the way you think he would do. He decks him. And, of course, our next match is Kushida versus Devlin. But before that, Hartwell and the Ray confront the women's tag team champions backstage and vow to show them the way on their time at the convenience, and champion mocked them right back. Don't be jelly. And then Jordan Devlin versus Kushida. This was good. That had levels to go up, I think. The guy that has come out for a distraction, and Kushida used it for a suplex into a cross arm break. And Devlin gets a rope break, but Legado drag him to the floor. Esper mocks him from the top of the entrance ramp. Devlin ducks the flunkies, dives back in the ring, and bridges Kushida for the pin. Winner of the contest, Jordan Devlin. Were you surprised they put Jordan Devlin over Kushida, or does that just show you the kind of the way they're positioning Devlin against Escobar? Kushida might be doing with done.
Yeah, I was very surprised. And I understand that it wasn't set in stone that Kushida and Dunn were fighting at Takeover, but it was very surprising to me, seeing that they were gonna, not only do that. By the way, I actually really liked the match, even though I agree. I thought they worked well together. I agree about the outcome, because the ending kind of cut them off anyway, but. Either way it go, we all know that, like, you give somebody a take. I think Devlin is good enough that he definitely deserves the win. I understand. I think they were really just wanting to build up Devlin as credible as they can, as quickly as they can, if you see what I'm trying to say. So they had to give him someone like Kushida, who's an established threat. So I understand it. I was surprised, but I guess I was going for it.
Yeah, I think about that. We see a furious Kushida charge out the ring to attack Roman Mendoza and Woken Wild. Meanwhile, Santos Esca music gets in the ring to confront Devlin. They get face to face in exchange words before Shawn Michaels music hits. What's going on here? Michaels walks down to the ring, cowboy hat on his head, pulls out the apron and pulls out the ladder. He tosses it to the ring and both men look at it, then take the hint and both stand over the ladder holding their titles in the air. Looks like our unification match at Takeover is now a ladder match. They're ruling for Regal. On Cole, and Riley's up next. Michael smirks at Adam Cole as he arrives for the commercial break. What were your thoughts on this becoming a ladder match? I hinted it last episode, but to actually do it shows that they do actually care. They care about history a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. Especially when one of the people who was involved in that history works, directly with the talent. So, yeah, of course they will remember that was something Sean was involved with, right? But anyway, I think, did someone steal your notes? You said you wrote this down too. Also, by the way, did you do that before it happened? You predicted this? Like, did someone take your notes? You sure? No one, you never know. But anyway, it's great. I think it's a great callback, especially when you're merging two championships the way they're doing. And let's just be honest. I think that this makes the card. It makes it a little bit more like it's not just going to be straight up wrestling. Now we have something else here that's going to have, this is going to have a unique stipulation attached to it. Ladder matches usually are always, insane, usually, of course. But at the same time, I think in this scenario, it's a perfect fit.
I think right down. And then up next, we get, like we said, bringing Regal, Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly. Regal says, "Gentlemen, thank you for joining me here tonight. Now, it's obvious that the situation for the two has gotten out of control. It's reached boiling point. In fact, you've got the bloody piece involved. I've not embarrassed this company that so many people have worked so hard to create. What I have here is a solution to this situation. This is the contract for Kyle O'Reilly to face Adam Cole in the co-main event of the second night of NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Now, Kyle, we were still not medically cleared. This match can only take place when you sign the contract and knowledge that NXT is not liable for anything that happens to both of you." Regal slaps the contract down in front of Cole. Then Cole says, "Regal, I want to tell you a little story. Imagine you were born blind, you could not see, and then one day you wake up and you see everything. We call that a revelation. And I had one. I realised I didn't need the Undisputed Era anymore. In fact, they were holding me back. You know who made me realise that? It was you, Carl. I bought into this BS and it was about brotherhood. It never was about that, Carl. I watched you challenge for the title not once but twice and then fail not once but twice. Then you tried to befriend Finn Balor to join the Undisputed Era. Have you lost your mind? Then I realised you are a sidekick, comfortable being on the sidelines, and that's not me. I'm nothing like you. You lost sight of what it was, what the Undisputed Era was. It wasn't about friendship. It wasn't about brotherhood. It was about being the best. And you're looking at the best. Honestly, Carl, you should be... Do you think you would have made it to WWE if it wasn't me? Do you think the Undisputed Era works for Adam Cole? I'm the one who led the charge. I'm the main one who main evented. I'm the one that's led the title run. I'm the one who sold the T-shirts. Undisputed Era Adam Cole is nothing. And you, Kyle O'Reilly, are nothing." Well, I cannot wait for this fight to take over. You want to know why? I already know who wins. The whole world knows who wins. The only one who doesn't know is the pathetic lapdog sitting across the table. Cole signs the contract and shoves it across the table to O'Reilly.
O'Reilly pounds the pin on the contract and picks up the mic. We've known each other for a long time. At least I thought. Four hungry pit bulls looking to take our spot at the top where we belong. We didn't give a damn about whose expense or who was footing the bill. We will forever have heat with the general manager and a whole locker room. I grew up, though. I started to take some accountability for my actions. No more sneak attacks. No more 4-on-1 beatdowns. No more BS. We become better wrestlers, better fighters, champions. We became stars. But only one of us became a better person, a better human being. Adam Cole is just the same asshole that walked into this place 3.5 years ago. I keep forcing myself to truly believe the last 3.5 years meant nothing. I'm forcing myself to believe this because if any part of me thinks you and I could be cool again, go for a beer again, I won't do what is necessary to put you down for good. I sold my soul for the Undisputed Era, and I want it back. You're an insecure prick who used his best friends, and that is so cold. And somehow, I'm not surprised in the least. But let me tell you something, Cole. Not one single person is going to be surprised. Look me in the eye. Not one single person will be surprised after I beat you into a pulp. For the first time in damn near 4 years, I'll sleep like a baby. He then signs the contract. And what a promo.
Damn, what a promo. Exactly. Attaboy, Kyle. Go ahead, sign that death warrant. O'Reilly signs and throws a pen at him. Cole knocks over the table and they both scream at each other as the show goes off the air. It's on like Donkey Kong. Cole was phenomenal in this. What did you think of the closing segment of NXT?
I think it's becoming a theme for this particular show. But did they do a great job of just setting the scene for what is needed. I thought it was perfect. They deserve a lights out match. If we're gonna get a ladder match, we needed another. If you needed another, wow, if you're into like hardcore style of matches and all that type of stuff, like this made Takeover officially. Like once I started to see as the card was being put together. Completed to be is the correct word. This really made it show me that this takeover is like they're trying to reach to every wrestling fan, like every type of wrestling fan. You got ladder matches, you got the lights out matches, you're gonna have the straight up championship contest between Io Shirai and also with Balor and Cross. Like you have a little bit of everything on this card, and this segment all it did was get me even more excited for what was to come, next week now, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, just before we get to our last episode, we had a huge bit of news as WWE and NBC Universal signed a new multi-year deal that will keep NXT on USA on network. Mm-hmm. In addition, NXT will be moving from Wednesday to Tuesday nights beginning April 13th. Speaking with Variety, W Executive Vice President of Global Talent Strategy and Development, Paul Levesque, or Triple H, said the decision to show Wednesday was to keep things consistent with original time slot on W Network, but now we're firmly established on cable, they can move it, less of an issue. We feel like it'll be constant fan base, we can grow off the brand of Raw. What were your thoughts? It's been rumoured for a long time. A lot of AEW fans are happy, but it's not. I don't think it's just about that. The fact to move to Tuesday. What were your thoughts?
I've always been pro it. First of all, let me be selfish here. As a content creator, oh my goodness, thank you, thank you for spreading this out. Do you not understand how hard it is to try to be timely with them coming on at the same time for me? Over here, it's insane trying to plan things, but. Either way it goes, but that's besides that part. As a fan, it made complete sense. I like the move. I thought when they did the NXT Super Tuesday, I thought it really helped. It just felt better, and not even just having the show there. It's just like the placement of it within the week with everything going on now with all, like you said, all these promotions. I think this is going to be great for them. And I think the ratings had a great boost, even though I understand that show was a really, it was a big show, like a takeover level type of show. So, I'm excited to see what they'll do with the new time slot. And I'm just so happy that now finally I can just stop seeing the countless battles on my social media between the AEW faithful and, the WWE loyal guys. Hopefully this can calm some of that down. with them not being in direct, competition like that.
Well, this is the thing, and the thing I've been saying recently is don't hate, just enjoy. If you don't like one company, watch another. And we talk about Raw on a Monday, NXT on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, obviously Dynamite, Thursday's NXT UK, and Impact Friday with SmackDown. And then you throw in Ring of Honor, NWA in there, New Japan, like we've not even mentioned as well. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, it is a wonderful time to be a wrestling fan.
Yes.
The 14, 15-year-old me dreams of a position like this, and now, like you said, they're not overlapping each other at all. It's going to be a great time, and hopefully we can build from this now and see where we get to. But we've got one last episode of NXT. It's the 31st of March, and we open with a hype video for night 1 and 2 of Stand and Deliver. But we start with Strong making his entrance. First match, Roderick Strong versus Cameron Grimes. You've been seeing these two men been simmering since, of course, Grimes tried to buy the intellectual promisey. He comes out. Strong's wearing his own graphic jacket, and Grimes comes up with a mic saying, honestly, without Cameron Grimes, Undisputed Era may be done for, but Roddy, I'm here to tell you we can keep going. I wasn't prepared this week. I've got something to change your mind. He owns a t-shirt that says Grimes the System. He's also got a title on the entrance that says Grimes the System. Strong has done enough and rushes out the ring, front Grimes in the entrance ramp. Now with a haymaker, throws Grimes in the ring, and the bell rings immediately. Grimes tries to roll away, but Strong hits crisscross forearm. Still, Grimes counters for a near fall and goes into his trunk for a foreign object. But it's an Undisputed Era armband. Strong knocks it out of his hand, but stares at it for too long. Grimes hits a cave-in full of pin. The winner of this contest, Cameron Grimes. What were your thoughts on this? Because I thought the two were a bit directionless, but I like Grimes because he's got the money, but where's the end goal? But the emotional thread of the Undisputed Era on Strong was a really nice touch.
I agree. I was not expecting, since he's been portrayed, Grimes has been portrayed, not necessarily just because of the comedy role that he kind of, has, but he's not really ever been portrayed as the smartest, but he seemed like such a smart heel in this situation, using the baggage from the Undisputed Era's fallout to defeat him, basically. The like you said, the armband. I think I even noticed earlier in the match, Strong looking at a fan with an Undisputed Era t-shirt and getting kind of stuck there. Like, I love those little subtle storytelling moments, that was in this match. And, Cameron Grimes using that to his advantage was a great heel victory, and I loved it. It was really, really good. I was surprised, though, like I said, as far as this coming from Cameron, because they've kind of portrayed him not really as just dumb, like not as dumb as Theory, but as he's been like Cameron Grimes. I can only explain it as Cameron Grimes.
No, like I said, it's a really good opener, actually, and then that takes us right into a video package from Cameron Cross and Scarlett, where Cross promises to phone the Prince, followed by another commercial break. That was good shit. And then we get a Walter promo where he returned. He puts over his muscle. Ciampa's been an all-time NXT great. But see that Ciampa's got other priorities now, and he's become a shell of his former self. At Takeover, I'm going to prove what I mean when I say the mat is sacred. Again, awesome. Then the NXT announced team plugs the move to Tuesdays and Takeover hard. You can get it for as low as $2.50. Wow. Before we get the Phantasm in the ring, Santos says, tonight I want to issue an open challenge. Why? Because I run the bingo around here. Because I want to show Jordan Devlin what he's in for. I was born a champion. That's the difference between me and you, Jordan Devlin. I am the Emperor of Lucha Libre. It's not a nickname. It's not a catchphrase. 100 years of tradition. This is what I represent. This very cruiserweight title was born. And what I represent, this division will forever belong to me as long as I want it to, because it's in my blood. I'm the best cruiserweight in the history of NXT. His promo is cut for Prince Pretty. But I've got to say, what a promo it was there by Santos Escobar. But then Tyler Breeze comes out and interrupts.
And Tyler Breeze said, you know what the difference is between you and me? You think the cruiserweight division is yours because you're entitled. Me, I had to work my ass off to open challenge. Challenge accepted.
So then it's Santos Escobar versus Tyler Breeze. Escobar tells you're a joke at Breeze for hitting him with a dropkick in the corner. But Escobar gets in deep trouble here as Breeze shows up his shades of Bret Hart, appropriate his trunks of pink and black as well, as he hits a sharpshooter. But Escobar crawls to the ropes and forces the break. Escobar blocks an unprettier, kicks him in the jaw, nails him with a phantom driver to finish off the match. Oh, well. Good effort from Prince Pretty, the winner of the contest, Santos Escobar. I cannot wait for this ladder match. Like to talk about another good match. We talked about Breeze being underrated as well. But MSK are here. Legado del Fantasma bails. They make the save, but Prince Pretty can get a post-match beatdown. The Grizzled Young Vets interrupt all of them with a video on the Titantron We are laser focused on only one thing. The Grizzly Young Vets are soon to be recognised as the NXT Tag Team Champions. It was brilliant. But I thought of all the build-up for all the, like I said, we've covered 7 episodes here. I think the one build-up that maybe we've not had a lot is the tag team titles on the line. Obviously due to Danny Burch's injury, but even with MSK maybe not being 100%, it's kind of been the Grizzly Young Vets to be hitting promos at this moment in time, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I think they've come into they've been carrying a lot of the tag team storytelling, like you said, with those promos. And I think, with the injury to Larkin Burch, I believe that I think they'll be a great pick to take it home. Honestly, like you said, the promos have been getting us through, at least with any type of storytelling. They entertain me every time. Every promo I've heard, I've been entertained by. And I love them in the ring, so I don't see why not. But yeah, I think that's out of every build. They may have had the weakest, but like you said, injuries. It's hard, and you can't prepare. You never know.
No.
Anybody can get hurt.
And to be fair, they have got like 10 matches to sort out, not just the standard 5. So true. Yeah, I'll maybe give him a little bit of break there. But we're backstage with the Way, and Garner interrupts an outrageous winning Regal, saying he's cuckoo bananas and unfit to run NXT. Austin Theory says he'll win the Battle Royal and let Johnny Gargano do the finger poke of doom. Gargano said that killed the business. And Theory said we're still here, Lo.
It's still here.
The man has a point, he really does. Gargano agrees and said his money's on Theory. Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell vowed to show up everybody up the real champions next. And then for some reason we see a dog running around the outside of the building. Okay, then. Up next, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Gigi Dolan and Zayda Ramir. The opponents of the Way already in the ring get no introduction before Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell make their entrance. Indy Hartwell works with woman number 1, who is fire red-haired, Gigi Dolan. Candice LeRae tags in but misses a charge into corner. Gigi Dolan's partner, Zayda Ramir from Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, tags in. The change of the Fast and Furious here. Hartwell enabled to the back from the ropes, and Ramir is down and out for a 3 count. The winner of the contest, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Thoughts on this match? I mean, the 2 young girls need a little bit more work, but it wasn't offensive, was it? It wasn't.
No. Yeah, it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. It was still a squash match, and I think Dolan and Ramir, of course, like you said, need a little bit more time. It was sloppy at moments, but again, as they get better, you also got to think about it right now in that particular situation. I think LeRae, because as much as I like what Indy has been doing so far, she is still also relatively new to this spot. So I think for everyone that was involved, it turned out okay. But yeah, I still think it did a great job of, establishing LeRae and Hartwell as, the next in line for the tag team titles.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then LeRae gets the microphone and says, there's not a woman in the locker room who deserves to be a champion more than I do. That means Indy and I deserve to be NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. Shotzi and Ember coming for what's mine. Said before, it's our time, our stage, and our way. And that is Takeover stand and deliver. This, of course, brings out Shotzi and Ember riding the tank. And they say, excuse me, Candice, you just say you deserve our titles. We think you've lost your damn mind. But how about we knock some sense into you right now? They file a tank and ride off to the back. Just fun. I see Shotzi and Ember, and I just think they're just fun. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't, like shooting tanks is cool. Zoe Stark will face Raquel Gonzalez next, but not before Io confronts her backstage and yells, "You cannot kill me." They get to a brawl, Gonzalez knocks her down. Officials go to check on her. The dog has now run inside the Capitol Wrestling Center. Beth Phoenix says, "What's for the dogs?" Roderick Strong and Soul Killers, he come back from a break, and he won't stick around here for the Battle Royal main event because he's done with everything. He walks out of the CWC. Okay, bye, Strong. Maybe let Bobby Fish know what you're up to.
Oh my God. Somebody call him, man.
You know what I'm saying? So we start versus Raquel Gonzalez. Gonzalez clubs her in the back and tries to put her up. Stark fights her off and hits a net breaker for 2. Spine bust for Gonzalez to finally put Stark away. I was surprised just how much offense she got on Gonzalez. I would have made the challenger look stronger before Io Shirai next week. But again, it just proved that, I think the thing is Zoe had to hit like 3 or 4 moves, and all Gonzalez had to do was hit that one finisher to get the job done. I think that was fair enough. But will Kai have a role to play at Takeover? Is she getting overlooked by a tag team partner and then any others?
I think they've been doing a lot of storytelling with the looks, you know what I mean, with the facial expressions of both ladies over this build. So I would not be surprised if Kai play a factor, even whether that means costing, Raquel in some sort of way, or something. I could definitely see her playing a factor in some type of way. Not completely sure what way yet, but they've definitely teasing something down the line with Dakota Kai and Raquel.
Yeah, I think without doubt. We see Shai charging out the back from the ring and brawling with Gonzalez. She drop kicks Gonzalez out the ring. The fight continues. Gonzalez picks her up and throws her into the plexiglass. Officials surround Shai while Dakota tries to get Gonzalez to head to the back. They stand at the top of the rank looking at handiwork. We'll then get a teaser of Kyle O'Reilly and Nicole video package after the break. And that dog is back again. And then Kushida says, tonight nothing will stop me from winning, but... And then Pete Dunne cuts him off, says, in case you misheard the challenge, I dare you to try and prove me wrong. The two exchange ugly faces and we go to a video package recapping the Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly war. If you saw the beginning and the end of last week's show, you probably already know everything in the video package, except for the dramatic music. And then the next match is Katie Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Tia Shan and Zia Lee. And Mi Ying stays at the top of the entrance ramp at a throne, leaving Zia Lee to head down to the ring for the tag team match. I suppose this makes sense. If Kariku never rehabbed her knee enough to get back in the ring, therefore we expected the tag team match is now a handicap match. But Kaden Carter waits for the tag as Mi Ying and Boa look on, and Carter is not having it. She goes to confront Ying, who puts her in a chokehold and squeezes her until she drops her unconscious. She sits back down. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Zia Lee hits a knee to the jaw, the spin kick for the pin. Acting contest turned handicap match turned one-on-one match, or wherever it was Zia Lee. Even the announce team have no idea what just happened. I don't blame them.
Yeah, me either.
What were your thoughts on this?
I don't know, man. I really, to be fair, I must say, as a group, to have a group like this that seems so threatening, and even the character of Ming or Tian Sha as a whole, to be fair, I like how menacing they are. That's the only thing I really can say. Like, to have that type of threat to where I'm not sure what the hell I'm looking at is, it's weird, if you know what I mean. Like, on one side, I'm confused and I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm like, why? But on the other side, I'm still intrigued. And I'm not insulted enough to where I'm like, okay, I gotta get this off. I'm tired of this. I'm intrigued to see where they're going with it. But at the same time, I'm like, what the hell am I watching? You know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
I completely understand. But one of the things that I watched, and I went back and checked on it, AEW fans thinking that their women's division is sorted now, right? Because of the don't get me wrong, the Thunder Rosa Britt Baker match was fantastic.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. But
ever since then, AEW, our women's division is sorted out. Have 3 back-to-back women matches on Dynamite. It wouldn't happen.
Exactly. It would.
But on NXT, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. I look back and I went, did we just have 3 women's matches? And it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I think that is the kind of thing of once they got in a position to do that, fair enough. But hey, I'm just starting a war.
And then, like anyway. You said, 3 different matches, but also like 3 different stories too. Like they're it's not even connected. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got the titles, then you have a feud that has nothing to do with any belt. So it's just great.
It is. It really is. And really like Casey and Caden, even though Caden might be dead. I don't know what happened to her after that.
We're not sure. We got to check on that.
And then Gonzalez tries to do an interview with Mackenzie. She gets jumped by Io Shirai again. Gonzalez picks up and swings her through a wall. I know it's supposed to be impressive. It shows that it was a boarded window, but still, it's funny when people, go, "Oh, it was a boarded." It's still a boarded window.
Right. Through. Exactly. Like, what are you talking about? That don't make the bump any easier to take. Like, come on, what is wrong with people? I don't get it. But yeah, it was. Oh my goodness, what a sick spot. And again, Io made like this whole entire, just continuing the fight was just so cool. She made that look like, I was like, oh my god. But at the same time, it's Io. You know what I mean? She made going through a wall cool.
She's so cool. You're going, that is cool. And then the dog, we've seen it go across saying we are NXT, and now it's at the feet of someone in stiletto boots named Frankie, with a note label seeing us at 18th. I mean, anybody that is paying a bit of attention, even to the show that we're doing, let alone anything else, I would say that Tayo Valkyrie would maybe be making a debut 18th, 13th, which will, again, it's like a stacked women's division, and then you add another talent like that. At some point, it just gets a bit ridiculous. You know?
I agree. It's just like they're so deep. You know what I mean? It's incredible to see, and like you said, it's only getting like the class is only getting better. You know, you can see the future. You can see the future of NXT women's division already. You know what I mean? You know, they have those people in place, and we can only imagine what's next.
Without doubt. So then Tommaso Ciampa with in interviews says, Walter, my wife and my baby girl gave me this necklace. You didn't know that, and that's okay, but you reminded me of my journey, my story. Sometimes in life we need to be reminded who we are, and I've heard what we had to say. Seems a lot of people have to say these days. And I sit and ask myself, are they right? Is Walter right? Have I changed? Yeah, I guess in some ways I have, but then I block out all the hate and I think about all the people who continue to believe my wife and my baby girl. Willow Bell, I hear you, I see you, I feel you. At Takeover, we're going to remind the world I'm going to chase that dragon, climb to the top of the mountain, and chop his damn head off. Walter, you're going to understand saying, I've been to the top and I've fallen to the bottom, and know what it's like to make that climb again. So, Walter, yeah, I've changed, but I've learned over the last 2 years. I'd rather be a man who fights for something, who really fights for something, than a man who fights with nothing to lose any day of the week and twice on Wednesday. You want to know what the Blackheart is still here? If the Psychic Killer is still here in 7 days of Takeover Stand and Deliver, you're going to get your answer, and it's going to cost you NXT UK Championship. Walter, it's a long, long fall from the top of the mountain. Buckle up. And again, you're going, I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Yes. Oh, my God. They hit it out of the park, man. It's just perfect, man. Like I said, this is if you want. I think this should be these shows like this should be the example of a go home show. This is what you need to do before a big, pay-per-view or special. Like, this is what needs to be done.
Yeah, I completely agree. Announcers around for both nights. We'll get to that in a little bit. Up next, a video for Finn Balor saying I was expecting Cross for a long time. It was never a case of when. But stamina's all been my strength. Finn Balor doesn't get gassed out. Cross tried to dictate the pace, but that's fine with me. The deeper we'll get, and that's where he drowns. Cross, there'll be no fairy tale ending at Takeover Stand and Deliver. You choke. NXT champion will still be Finn Balor. Game fantastic. And then we get onto the main event, the Gauntlet Eliminator Qualifying Battle Royal. Isaiah Swerve Scott is the first to come out for tonight's main event. I love his attitude. It's fucking brilliant now. Even the way he kind of looks just down at the camera. Leo Ruff blindsides him right as he gets down to the ring and the two start to brawl outside and inside. Leo Ruff closes him outside. He's about to hit a suicide dive before Scott bows and cowers by the announce table to send us to a commercial. Pete Dunne is making his entrance right as we come back. It appears that all the other competitors for the match are already in the ring because the moment he enters, we get the opening bell. The announcer reminds us that Roderick Strong is not here, so instead of a 12-man battle royal, it's actually 11. Dexter Lumis in the corner just staring at everyone with no one going after him. Malcolm Bivens interferes to help Jake Atlas get eliminated, but Aaron Paul gets floated over the ropes to the floor and Bivens just loses his client. Bronson Reed knocks Austin Theory out to the ring with a butt to the face, but he lands on his back. But he goes, I've got an idea. Kips up and then lands on his feet and he's eliminated. I mean, what?
You can't help but chuckle. So dumb.
Backstreet double elbow by Kushida. Kushida and Dunn start trading haymakers. They trade moves until they spin over the top rope, simultaneously eliminating each other. We go to a commercial. When we come back, Kushida versus Pete Dunne is confirmed. I mean, that was really good timing on everybody. So we've got Swerve Scott, Ruff, Loomis, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, and L.A. Knight left in the ring as our final six when we come back. Gargano's joined the announce table to watch the order for the Gauntlet next week to add a little spice to the proceedings. Bronson Reed eliminates Leah Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott back-to-back when they're down to 4. L.A. Knight chops the knee and works on Reed. He and Grimes form an alliance, but Reed fights him off with headbutts. Knight is thrown to the apron. He pokes Reed in the eyes and leaps back in. Reed catches him, but he escapes, and they team up with Dexter Lumis. Just suddenly comes alive.
Right? Out of nowhere.
And it gets Reed out. Grimes then tries both beds some money to eliminate him, and he says to Grimes, he's like, right, you go left, I go right, it's fine. Loomis Dexter with the right hand, his money goes flying, and both Loomis and Knight toss him out. The two stare at each other in the ring, and then Loomis Dex Knight with multiple right hands, high back body toss. Knight wincing in pain, he gets up. Loomis tries to toss him out. Knight puts on a break. They fight back and forth in the apron. That snaps him off the top rope. Knight goes for the spear, but goes through the middle rope. And since he didn't go over the top, it's not an elimination. He yanks Loomis off the apron, who did go over the apron, and that is an elimination. Your winner of the Battle Royal, LA Knight. I thought this was really fun. I can't remember a finish actually like that.
No, me either. I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the finish? What were your thoughts on the match? And what were your thoughts about the actual winner?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that finish, that was one of the first times I ever thought. I was like, man, LA Knight looked really smart right there. You know what I mean? Because like that always been a thing that was possible. You know, instead of going over the top, try to go under. You know what I mean? So I like that element of it. It was a nice spot. The match itself, I thought did a really great job of just telling stories. Like I thought they used it. At first I thought they was just okay. Well, it seems like they don't know what to do with some guys, so they're putting them in the battle royal to just get us through into to Takeover. No, like they constructed this battle royal to tell a story. You know, you got the stuff with Ruff and Swerve. You have we all know not only with LA Knight and Bronson, but just also with Loomis looming and being who he is, and we all know he's probably the most dangerous person in that match based on his ongoing story with Gargano. So when you have all those elements, they end up finishing the match. And then what I like the most, this actually the best, honestly, to me, LA Knight. And I know he's still relatively new, but LA Knight looked really good to me. He really started to look like somebody, not really a threat, but somebody who can, use his brains and use the environment to his advantage, and he looked even dangerous, towards the end. So I thought this match did a great job, setting the stage for that eliminator.
I was about to say my thoughts for this: if NXT did Royal Rumbles, this is what it'd be like, because like you said, you had all the different stories going on, exactly what you wanted, and then you had the kind of surprise finish of going, well, actually, I don't know if I've seen that before. But Knight picks up some of Grimes' money off the announce table, points at Gargano and said he doesn't want money, just that North American title, good stuff. And just when it looks like the end, Io Shirai comes back out of the ring and she gets the mic and goes, Raquel Gonzalez! A bunch of words. Gonzalez understood though and comes back to ringside and the two start brawling. So the whole woman locker room spills out from the back trying to keep them apart. Io Shirai knocks Gonzalez, a bunch of the women locker room down with a big dive from the top rope into the crowd. And that is how you end a show. Wow, Io is so cool. What a way to finish. What were your thoughts?
Man, this show is like, I am mad. I almost was angry they portrayed her so awesomely for me throughout that night, because they got over a lot of those emotions you want from a babyface. The never giving up is all through her constant attempts at attacking Raquel, and when she finally gets the upper hand, taking out everybody, like it wasn't like she looks like such a badass, but also the good guy in the situation. Usually in WWE they have a tendency to book the bad guys like that. Not so much the good guys.
I think without a doubt, and I think if we look at it, we just looked at 7 episodes of NXT, and we've done NXT update on the WNR podcast since 2015. And it's one of the most enjoyable things to do a month. And it's not just because of the humour, but the action and the kind of story that always pays off as well, leading to a kind of takeover card. What have you thought of NXT this month?
I thought it was really, really great. I think they did some of their best work building to a takeover. I think I was way more excited for this takeover than the previous one before this one. Like you said, just so many, not only the way they've been telling these stories, but every match, all 10 matches, other than maybe, like you said, an exception can be for the tag team, they have done a great job of setting the scene and letting you know what everyone wants, and like you said, just got you so excited for the takeover. And I have to say that I enjoy a lot of these shows. Great matches, even. For the most part, like you said, I can think of some, like, not only great matches, but just some great moments, just entertaining television all throughout these last, 6 or 7 weeks. So it's been really, really good stuff. And I think they did a really good job of building, the hype for this show.
Yeah, and I think they're not the only ones. I think you and I have done a lot for that as well. And like I said, we've looked at 7 episodes of Takeover and we're of NXT, and we're more excited than Takeover. We're not burnt out at all. If Takeover was on tonight, we would sit and watch that, straight away.
Agreed.
But unfortunately, it's not tonight. But when it is we'll be releasing that on Saturday. So if you're interested about the NXT Takeover, don't forget we've got Hall of Fame on Tuesday and the Road to WrestleMania on Thursday. And then Monty will be back with us to talk about the Takeover card. And speaking of that, let's just run through it quickly. Let's run through it because we've got Kushida versus Pete Dunne. We've got the Gauntlet Eliminate for the opportunity in NXT North American title. Isaiah Swerve, Scott, Liam Ruff, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, and L.A. Knight. The NXT Tag Team Championship Triple Threat match, MSK, Grizzled Young Vets, and Legado del Fantasma. The NXT United Kingdom Championship, Volta versus Tommaso. In event of Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez. I mean, that is a takeover card in itself. It's pretty good.
Right. You know, like, then like, before you even think about the fact that you have something next night, it's insane.
Well, like I said, Thursday and very next night, it will be night 2, and we've got a ladder match for the undisputed NXT Santos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin. The NXT Women's Tag Team Championship, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus The Way. NXT North American Championship, Johnny Gargano versus the winner of Night 1 Gauntlet Eliminator. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole in an unsanctioned match. And an NXT Championship, Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. It is a stacked takeover, and I know they hype it up a lot, but it might be the biggest takeover we've ever seen.
I agree 100%. Like, I think they've definitely probably used that tagline before, but this is the most true. I think you can say it is. It has been, you know, just 2 nights, insane action, and I'm just excited. I can't wait to see what, you know. I think the last thing I'm worried about is like some of these match qualities, because I expect some of the best. Now, maybe, you know, that can always be a bad thing, but see, Takeover again, back to their reputation. I have no, like, I'm not even really even thinking about the possibility of this show not being great. You know what I mean? That's how good of a track record they have, and this card looks just like it's going to follow right in line with the rest of them.
That is the beauty of a takeover, and I've done it for years, is you can talk it up however much you want, and it will always pay off in certain ways. And that is the beauty of a take. I could say this is going to be the greatest takeover of all time, and it will deliver for me. So, you know, that's kind of what a takeover is all about. And also, obviously, next time we'll be doing takeover night 1, night 2, stand and deliver. But also, I want to make you watch something. And I wanted to review something as well. And that is NXT UK Prelude. It is for 1 hour happening on Thursday. I would love for you to have a look at it. And then we'll get your thoughts on the action. Basically, there's going to be 3 big matches. It's Miko Satomura and Mackenzie versus Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn. Kaylee Ray is the longest reigning NXT UK Women's Champion of all time. You've got Noam Dar versus Tyler Bate. And then in the main event, it's going to be NXT UK title Volta versus Rampage Brown. Hopefully, it's going to be an hour of your time, and you'll never have to watch it again if it's awful.
Okay, sounds good. I have no problem checking that out. I probably will brush up also on what's been going on lately, because I have not seen UK in a little while. But I would definitely.
Sorry, man. I was about to say, if you do want to catch up with what's happening in NXT UK, go and check out the WNR podcast, where we released the last 2 episodes of NXT UK, and of course do the monthly updates as well. So there you go.
Perfecto.
And a lot of people have been messaging me as well and asking us, when's the next time we're going to catch up with New Japan? Now, of course, with everything going on in the wrestling world, it's quite busy at this moment in time. So maybe every 2 months. So we've done January, we've done March. So maybe in May we catch up with New Japan, because obviously we've got the New Japan Cup and so much more to do. Will you be happy with that, and will you keep the listeners happy?
Oh, no problem. I'm very excited that they enjoyed the first one so much that they're asking for it. So yeah, no problem. I watch it. I watch all of it. You know, they have a big show coming up, Sakura Genesis, with Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi this weekend. So I can't wait. I'm just excited, you know, for everything to come, and I cannot wait to talk to you about what's been going on. You know, I have no problem catching you guys up.
Oh, that is brilliant. I can't wait to have you on. And just a quick story as well, and it's more about me than it is anything else, but as a wrestling fan, local wrestling, especially when it comes back once COVID reopens, and to go check your local place. I was lucky enough in 2016 to go to a local place where it had like 200 fans in a leisure centre, right? The swimming pool. And the main event for that was Drew McIntyre versus Will Ospreay. Oh, and you years later, over consecutive weekends, Will Ospreay challenging for the biggest title in Japan against one of the best wrestlers in the world, and a week later, Drew McIntyre challenging for the W title at WWE's biggest event. It just shows you that, even at that time, to go check out local wrestling, to start watching NXT UK or to watch NXT, to watch who the stars of the future will be, because it pays off if you stick with it,
Yes, sir. That's a great story, and I agree 100%, man. It's just like I said, like I was mentioning with the young lions in the New Japan episode. It's the same concept, like you said, with NXT. Like you said, in your independent promotions, wherever you live, local, it is always cool to see someone that you see early in their career, and then you can look at them years later at the top, like you said, at the pinnacle of it. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. You experience that with them almost, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And this is the thing. You feel like you've completed wrestling.
Exactly.
But the thing is, what we have done is completed NXT today, and that is it. Our follow of the week is Luis Benitez. Don't forget, you can follow us across all social media. Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Do you want to just plug your stuff quickly?
All right. This is Munchie G from the Mind of Munchie podcast. You can find that on all of your podcasting platforms. Haven't done a show in a while, but we will be returning soon with more wrestling content. And follow me on Twitter at MindMunchiePod. Appreciate you guys.
And also, if you enjoyed Monty on the podcast today, don't forget to go back and check our back catalogue with Monty involved in every single NXT event that we've had as well. And that will continue long into the future, we hope, as well. And WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all the Google platforms. Send us an email at WNRpodcast@gmail.com. YouTube, WNR Podcast with latest clips. Podcasts at the same time. And YouTube is do SoundCloud on your phone. Also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate and review there. So that is it. Like I say, Tuesday, our next episode will be the Hall of Fame with the WNR Dan. Thursday with Jaxie, the road to WrestleMania. And then Monty is back Saturday with NXT UK Prelude and NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. But until then, I've been James Ronans, and I'll have the pleasure to be joined by Monty again. Thank you for joining me. I had such a laugh doing this. I hope you enjoyed yourself as well.
Always. And I thank you again for having me. And I'm ready. I can't wait. It's a big weekend and week for wrestling. So I'm happy. I can't wait.
Without a doubt. So until we stand and deliver, that is it. Thanks for listening, everybody. And bye.
Adios.